faking the tears and
yes,
blood
I
shit.
just,
I'm
you
like,
know,
come on,
and not really
Jimmy.
addressing the issue. You lie.
Well, you knew he wasn't going to say it. Because if he admits to it, then they're never going to get rid
Right.
down. But because he danced
apology.
around, no. But I don't know. That's why I was just like, yeah. I heard the part where he said, it's like, I didn't mean to make a joke out of someone's murder. And I was like, okay, well, at least that's half of an apology.
And then he did, but he didn't say, and then he lied again. He said, I didn't mean to point to one group.
Yeah. No,
well, that's like, exactly what you did.
Yeah. And then he's like, that's actually the exact opposite. It's like, no, it's pretty
that's
apparent. That's exactly what you were doing.
What do you take this down?
Take who? Oh.
This jacket.
No, yeah, that I saw too. It was like, that's exactly
crazy.
what your statement said, though, is that they were part of
MAGA. Exactly.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180. Call in or text 661. That's 661-876. Live at KBRNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from KBRN Studio. Here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, or however you may be viewing. For those subscribing on YouTube, it's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com. Chris Burdick producing on this hump day, 24th day of September. Another busy broadcast on this Wednesday. Unfortunately, big story of the day, another violent shooting at the government. An ICE Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility down in Dallas. So we'll get into that. Jimmy Kimmel gives his first appearance since his suspension. I am told it was some 6.5 million viewers. So it missed my 10 million ratings mark, but that's 6 times his normal audience. His audience has dropped in 12 years. Since 2013, his ratings have dropped by 77%. And I've got some other statistics that we'll unveil when we get into that. And it's a Wednesday, so Howard Marcus will join us. And I found an interesting story that obviously caught my eye. It comes out of Inglewood. It's a man by the name of Maurice Hastings, who was convicted of carjacking, rape, and murder and attempted murder back in 1983. He was sentenced to life in prison. And the LA Innocence Project, along with the California Forensic Science Institute of Cal State Los Angeles, had investigated this case for years. The man insisted that he was not the man, and in fact thought that he had evidence and contacted the government that he could prove that it wasn't him. That we just got into the DNA. Obviously, the times have changed since 1983, and as it became apparent to this man that DNA was starting to free people, he busted his behind to try to get the government to get involved. The LA Innocence Project did, and in fact, the man was released, found not guilty. They found who exactly was the perpetrator, and he got a cool, after 38 years of imprisonment, was released at the age of 70 years old and made a settlement with the city of Inglewood. And that's my connection, what brought it on my radar. As a lot of you know, I worked for the Inglewood News for about 4 years. I lived in Inglewood for about 5 years, and I grew up about 10 minutes from Inglewood. And the city had to settle with Mr. Hastings. Well, how much money do you think they gave him, Chris? 38 years of his life stolen. What do you think the city of Inglewood gave him? You know, it's weird. That's brilliant of you, because that's the very first quote Mr. Hastings said when they asked him about his settlement. That's exactly what he said. How do you put a dollar amount on them stealing the best years of my life? I don't know. What do you want to take a shot?
I know they lowballed him, so I'd say maybe $5 million.
$25 million. For the city of Inglewood, that's a ton of money.
That's a lot of money.
But we'll unpack that for you at some point. And unfortunately, the Democrat won in Arizona in a special election on the 7th. I don't know if it's unfortunate, really, because the key part of the story is it is the 218th vote to finally release the Epstein files. Remember, there are a number of Republicans, Nancy Mace, Marjorie Taylor Greene, etc., Thomas Massey, who is putting forward the bill to release the Epstein files. That Democrat that won that special election will be the 200. In fact, that was one of her. She was placing her dad. Her name is Adelita Grijalva. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing her last name, but she was replacing her dad, who died of cancer. He had that seat, and she was going to be the 218th vote. So it looks like this thing is going to get released, although we'll see what happens in the Senate. But certainly makes things interesting. But obviously, we begin with this shooting in Dallas on U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility. It was first reported that 2 detainees had been killed. They have upgraded that. Again, as I always say, excuse me, whenever there's an event like this, the initial reports you really have to take with a grain of salt, because there are so many news agencies and everybody's trying to be first. And if something gets rippled out, then it gets repeated and it gets repeated, and it becomes almost a fact when it is, in fact, not accurate. And so it was only 1 detainee that was killed. They have identified the shooter who took his own life, Joshua John, a 29-year-old who had anti-ICE sentiment written on the bullets. So, in short, I think it's only just begun. I really believe that. And I think it's just an era in American history, much like the crazy Wild West, when law was not really present and then was just becoming present in the West, and it was extremely violent. I don't know if you compare it to that. I think it's like the 20s when Prohibition kicked in and there were gang wars going on over who got to sell beer and who didn't. And now I think the violence stems from political differences. I don't think this country, including the 1960s, when we were so separated by generation and belief in the war and race, the civil rights movement was getting up on its feet in the mid-60s. But I don't think we've ever been as separated and as divided and as so violently driven as we are now, not necessarily as a society, but certainly as political groups. And through that, you're having wackadoos. And I think, unfortunately, you know, I've been so reluctant to go here, but I do have to agree that a lot of this is coming from the left. And a lot of this comes from the rhetoric of the left, and they're just not willing to admit it. And they're still continuing to use phrases like authoritarianism and fascist and things like that. And when you reinforce that to people that are mentally unstable, and you convince these people that the other side are Nazis and un-American and fascists, that gives the not the normal Democrat, not the normal liberal, not even the normal uber liberal, but these young, confused, dazed, stupid young men, 18 to 30, who are disengaged, have apparently in their minds nothing to live for because they go into these things. The Charlie Kirk shooting was incredibly rare. Why? Because he didn't take his own life. These shootings, it is typical what this 29-year-old did. They take their own lives. So they go into this situation knowing I'm checking out, and this is how I'm going out. And so I think that rhetoric has to feed into that, to these mentally unstable people who have just an itchy, tricky trigger finger, figuratively speaking. And all it takes is this internet rhetoric, this social media rhetoric, hearing it on television, hearing people calling people Nazis and giving them almost justification for what they're doing. That's where the reveling comes from. And that's part of the reels that I'm seeing. They sent there are two videos last night that just made me want to cry. They sent a MAGA kid onto an HBCU. Thank God it was not Morehouse, because I could identify that. And thank God it wasn't Spelman. And I don't think it was an Atlanta University Center school. But they sent a kid who, I don't know if this was intentional or not, kind of resembled Charlie Kirk. And they put a MAGA hat on him and just, he was going to set up a bench and talk to people. They ran him off the campus. And as they were running him off the campus, he took his phone and recorded it. And it was like the Pied Piper leading the rats off the ship. They were just, or it was like the PGA victory for Tiger Woods. Remember when Tiger Woods won and he and Rory McIlroy were walking up the 18th green and hordes of fans, they let him just come out and follow. That's exactly what these young black kids did to this white kid on campus. Just followed him out, screaming and yelling at him, holding up BLM signs, just screaming at this kid. I'm just like, really? That's where we are on a college campus? By the way, that could never, ever happen on the campus of Morehouse College, because every kid involved would have been identified and summarily expelled, not suspended, expelled. Just saying. But, and the other was this, I don't know who it was going on a college campus. And it was apparently the day that Charlie Kirk was shot, and asking young college kids what they thought. And these kids were like, he deserved it. Like casually. Oh, I'm glad. It's just absolutely amazing. It really, really is. Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, the supervisors voted to fight Proposition 50, save, of course, Leticia Perez, the lone liberal Democrat on our board of supervisors. We'll talk about that. And a recent poll, we had Mark DiCamillo from the UC Berkeley Institute of Government Studies on about, I don't know what was that, Chris, 2 or 3 weeks ago. They did a poll on this, and it's not as bleak as it looks. We're trailing, those of us who want to defeat Proposition 50. It's not as bleak as it looks. The LA Times did a story on that today, saying that exact thing. We'll unravel that for you. Again, Howard Marcus, 4 o'clock. I'll tell you the story of Maurice Hastings, a man who lost 38 years of his life because simply was framed. Point blank. He's the Karen Reed of the 20th century. And we'll get into the 7th district win in Arizona and what that means to the Epstein files. And I've been trying to avoid this. You know what I'm talking about, don't you, Burdick? I'm not even going to look at you while we talk about this. Of course I'm talking Dodgers. I'm going to read to you my text exchange with Randy as Tanner Scott was coming into the ball game. I will tell you exactly as he was coming into the ball game, Randy and I began a tete-a-tete until the game was over. And of course, you know what my final text was? Tried to tell you. I tried to tell you. Unfreaking believable. You know what? This is a good thing. Let's leave on a good note for Dodger fans. This is a good thing. The more this happens in the regular season, the more the Dodgers will be forced to use starters longer, because 17 should have gone 8, maybe even 9 innings last night. It's winning time. We either win or we lose. So he only had 70 pitches. So it's going to make them force our starters to go longer, or B, particularly in that 2 out of 3 series, it's going to force Dave Roberts or Stan Kasten or somebody to jump in, the Guggenheims, Vin Scully, somebody to jump in and use starters as relievers. Because there is no one, as I've been telling you for weeks, in that bullpen that is trustworthy. Quick timeout, just getting started on a Wednesday. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Understanding these coverage differences may be confusing. Call us today, 661-554-4544. Let us help you understand your healthcare options for 2025. Call today, 661-554-4544. 661-554-4544. The information you need and the coverage you deserve. For accommodations of persons with special needs and needs, call 661-554-4544, TTY 711. September is National Preparedness Month, so it's the perfect time to ask yourself some questions, like how much food do you have on hand for an emergency? How would you get clean water if the tap went dry tomorrow? What would you do if the storm knocked out the power for a week? If you don't have good answers to those questions, that's okay, because right now, My Patriot Supply, the most trusted name in emergency preparedness.
Did I send you anything on text, via text? Oh, I did send you that Angel Reese thing. Did you see that? Isn't that funny? I freaking no. Better be gone. Bang! I love that. Did you see the fucking airball layup? Well, did you see the video of her at her last game where she showed up at the bench before the team came out and just was like modeling?
News Talk 96.1. Eliminating KERN. Now, back to the Rick Daily Show.
Love and Hip Hop Atlanta was a little disappointing. But next week is going to be great. Although they'll probably back it up again. But one of the, there's a big plot twist in Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. And I'm sorry to bore you. This is about 2 minutes you're never going to get back. But there is a couple, they send the group to Puerto Rico. And there's a couple that is there celebrating their 9th anniversary. And right before they left, other friends discovered that the woman, Salma, was cheating on her husband, who they're celebrating their 9th anniversary. And that was the end of last week's show. So I thought last night it would be revealed, and it wasn't. But now he's going around, and this is why it's all scripted. He's going around to other members of the cast and asking them whether he should tell or not, which means now the whole cast knows, which means there's no way in the world it doesn't get out. And then at the end, they show clips for next week. And one of the clips is the husband of the woman who's allegedly cheating, taking off his microphone. I'm done with this. I'm done with this. You know, when they get mad and they don't want to be part of the production anymore. Brother, you signed a contract. You better put that microphone back on. And they try to storm off, and then they always come back. So, yes, it is. Yeah, it really is. No. What? What did I get? What? Please stand by. I'm sorry. I forgot I was doing a radio show. Nice shirt Sunday. No, it was Mark Twain and Jim Bowden at the same time. And I didn't know what was which. I thought Jim Bowden was saying, looking nice shirt Sunday. Yes, I'll be out there Sunday. Although I'm a little gouty. Yeah, he told me that the allopurinol originally might be it's just in my toe. I could play right now, but I just woke up this morning. I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be freaking kidding me. But no, I could play right now if I had to. And then what's Bowden's? Give him the 30. Oh boy, I don't know what that means. I gave up my ticks to our general manager. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Who you got? Sean, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show. Good. How are you?
Previous caller yesterday wanted to debate and argue, with the dumb idea that was because the DEI, that the DEI statement and the black pilot made no sense at all. None of that information.
Sean, your audio is horrible, dude. We can't hear a word you're saying.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're wrestling with your phone. I'm sorry, dude. I got to go anyway. It's getting really late. Real quick, before we get to the bottom of the hour, just wanted to go over the supervisor's vote to fight for Proposition 50 and some of the things that were pointed out in the discussion. David Couch, supervisor and overall good egg, pointed out that this is going to cost the state, the special election, $251 million. It's going to cost Kern County $3.2 million. And let's not forget that it breaks our Constitution, that we voted on this panel, this commission that we put together that Kathy Abernathy can't stand, but it's the best of two evils. The panel versus where we were before then. Yes, there are better ways to do it, but what we had was better than what we were doing. And now we're fighting this thing just to get back to where we were. And as I said earlier, we had Mark DiCamillo on from the UC Berkeley Institute of Governmental Studies, and they had a poll about a month ago that said that it was 46-36 in favor of Prop 51, but with 18% still undecided. Anytime a proposition doesn't have 50%, I think it could go either way. Once you've got a majority, it's rare you're going to lose that majority, but they're not there yet, meaning that 18% could break either way. And now I just heard Arnold Schwarzenegger full-throatedly talking about it. Kevin McCarthy's raising money talking about it. Like I've always said, we can stave this off. We have the keys to this thing. And this redistricting idea is about Gavin Newsom running for president. Everything that he's doing, even giving us the 2,000 oil wells that he gave us, that's about trying to steal a couple of votes in the Central Valley. Quick time out. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A new report finds the Department of Government Efficiency's remaking of the federal workforce has battered the Washington job market and put more households in the metropolitan area in financial distress. Wednesday's report says the number of homes for sale in the District of Columbia, Maryland, Virginia region has jumped by 64% since June 2024. A shooter with a rifle opened fire from a roof onto a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement location in Dallas, killing one detainee and wounding two others before taking his own life. A law enforcement official who spoke to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity identified the suspect as 29-year-old Joshua John. The attack happened on Wednesday morning. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Bill Robbins. The inmate who escaped during transport to a medical appointment was arrested a couple of days later in Lamont. 23-year-old Francisco Garcia escaped from Kern Medical at around 11 o'clock Saturday night. He was seen running eastbound from the hospital. Garcia escaped while in transport. According to the DA's office, Garcia, who is a rap artist, was convicted on 2 counts of attempted murder and other charges. He faces 80 years to life in prison. The Kern County Coroner's Office has identified the man who was shot and killed on Vine Street near the fairgrounds last week as 40-year-old Wilberto Ruben Hernandez of Bakersfield. Deputies found the victim. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Homicide detectives are investigating. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Ralph Bailey for Adaptive Networks. You know, a lot of IT companies try to squeeze your unique business into their cookie cutter solutions. That's why we've teamed up with Adaptive Networks, because they know no two businesses are exactly alike, and your IT shouldn't be either. While other MSPs offer one-size-fits-all packages, Adaptive Networks takes the time to listen and understand your specific challenges, your industry requirements. They build custom technology solutions that actually fit your business, not the other way around. So whether you're a small company or a growing enterprise, Adaptive Networks adapts to you. Their customer-driven approach means you get exactly what you need. So don't settle for generic IT support. Call Adaptive Networks today and discover what truly customized technology solutions can do for your business. Adaptive Networks, because your business is unique and your IT should be as well. Visit adaptive-net.com or call
Call 661-241-0638 today.
Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we will avail ourselves of the services of Dr. Corey Gonzalez, local psychologist. We can all do with a little bit of that right about now. And we'll back all of that up with state-of-the-art news and traffic and, yes, weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
It'd be fun if I would go to LA. Well, maybe not. But I'd go to LA to see her. I'd go to Inglewood. I'd go to see her. Pay a fortune. Maybe Vegas. Something like that. Really enjoy that girl. The documentary is just hard to watch because I think there were people. I think whenever a celebrity dies, there are people that are complicit, because they make and what is strange about that is you're killing the golden goose. You know what I mean? That's like us taking out Rogers Brandon. That don't make no sense. Company gets sold, we get fired. No, that don't make no sense. Elvis, Whitney Houston, you would think you would defend and protect the golden goose, but you know why they don't? Because they're all afraid if I go to Elvis and tell him to stop taking drugs, he'll fire my ass, and where will I be? Instead of doing like an intervention where he has to fire the whole Memphis mob or, the family. Where was Whitney Houston's mom and their aunt? I think the aunt was still alive. Because it's not like Whitney just met, there's kind of a perception that Whitney met Bobby and started smoking crack. No, Whitney Houston was smoking crack as a teenager in New Jersey. Why is my phone absolutely blowing up between the hours of 3 and 6? Kathy Abernathy now wants to chime in. Oh my God, and it's a long. My comments about the Measure N panel is that the city staff manager don't ask or take any input from the committee members about how the money should be spent. Have we mentioned Measure N today? Is she sleepwalking? Why is she sending me this during the show? Doesn't she come on Mondays? Wasn't she just here 48 hours ago? My comments about the Measure N panel is that the city staff / manager don't ask or take any input from the committee members about how the money should be spent. It's their proposal and it's up or down vote on their budget spending, and we vote no on things. And of course, the council is elected, so ultimately the council makes the decision, but this commission doesn't have any power to direct city staff manager to meetings within 1 week, and that's it for the year. Jesus Christ, Kathy, that's the longest damn sentence I've ever seen in my damn life. Sarah Wallace, my English teacher, would call that a run-on sentence. Good googly moogly. In fact, I think the whole paragraph is one sentence. Okay, Kathy. Sorry, I thought you just used my name and quoted something. I thought it was a Measure N. I'll talk to you Monday. Bye. What is going on with Kathy? This is like the third time. She's completely and totally misconstrued. Do you know I went back, and I hate watching Ralph Bailey. I'll listen to the show sometimes on Saturday because a lot of times I'm in a car going to Mexicali or something. But I don't like watching what has become of what was a young, cute African-American boy. And Papa Jacob, look what we got now. But I went back and looked at the show where Kathy said that I said something and I absolutely said the opposite. And I watched it and I was like, Now, maybe the thing with Lisa could be misunderstood because Lisa misunderstood I said something, and that was kind of convoluted. I was kind of going back and forth, but I went back and watched the thing with Kathy, and I was like, how the hell did she mix up what I was saying? I made it clear. Oh, it was the Tylenol thing, where I made it clear that I thought that women suck it up when it comes to pain, and that the reason they take Tylenol is because of the fever, because they are aware of the fact that fever is directly a direct causation to autism. And Kathy came on and said, I said the exact opposite. And now she thinks that I somehow mentioned her name and talked about Measure N. Have I even come close to saying the word Kathy or Measure N in the last
That's where I'm
25, 30
my head.
minutes?
I'm not
Like,
sure.
what is she listening to? Maybe she's listening to old shows or something. I don't know. That's the strangest thing in the world. Oh, that totally threw me off. All right. So I got to talk about it, I guess. I watched and I was pissed. I really was. I watched and he went to commercial break and I was like, it's 10 to 12 and I stayed up for this. And I DVR'd it, so I don't know why I didn't just watch it this morning, but I wanted to see it live. And, you know, right around 9 o'clock when it aired on the East Coast, my phone just kept blowing up describing what he said. And, you know, there was no apology. There was no recognition of what he said. In fact, there was a complete denial and a total lie last night, an absolute lie, where he said something to the effect that I didn't accuse the Charlie Kirk killer of being from one side or the other. And I was just laying there like, are you serious? Are you really being serious right now? Because that's precisely what you did. That's the issue. You put forward false information. Let's give him credit. Let's not say he lied, which I think he did. Let's just take it easy, try to bring down the rhetoric and say, you simply provided the nation with false information. Jimmy, you can't do that. You have a responsibility. You have a gargantuan theater in front of you, this country. And particularly last night, when you got the biggest audience you probably have ever had and the biggest audience you will ever have. 6.5 million people, according to some statistics. And yet you lied again. And it's just unfortunate that we have a one-sided media and they've been able to absolutely turn the narrative into free speech and the government. And don't get me wrong, this cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs cabinet has fed into this thing. This idiot Brandon Carr, who's running the FCC, who absolutely did go on television and threaten television stations, their licenses, and this whole situation where he said that we can either do it the easy way or we can do the hard way. And even Republicans like Ted Cruz and Rand Paul have come out and said, look, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, a host of conservatives have said, look, and smartly so because of this very reason. Don't go here. Do not go here with the FCC, where they're interfering on free speech and what people are saying or what networks are saying, simply for no other reason. The pendulum swings, and sooner or later, there will be a democratic regime. And sooner or later, there will be a democratic liberal chairman of the FCC. And what in the world do you think the first thing they're going to do when they get into office? They're going to come after conservatives. They're going to come after Fox. So nobody on the right wants to see the government get involved. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened. And if Brandon Carr had kept his big, stupid mouth shut, there wouldn't even be a trail of belief that that's what happened. But Carr fed into this thing. We can do it the easy way or we can do it the hard way. Shut up. Jimmy Kimmel got fired by Bob Iger, a very close friend of his, very dear friend from what I read. And Jimmy Kimmel got back on the air last night because of Bob Iger. If the FCC and Brandon Carr ran him off the stage, then what? The FCC gave it back to him? And Nexstar and Sinclair, owning about 20% of the ABC affiliates, still aren't happy. They're going to come around eventually because his contract is up in January, and then you just don't re-sign him. I don't think Disney is going to re-sign him. I don't think Iger's going to re-sign him. At the end of the day, they're a business. They are a business, and this guy is costing them money. The only reason he's on board now, and I've tried to explain it to you, you can survive with bad ratings because he does make them money through the affiliates. He does make them money through sponsors. Does the show make money? No, he's got a staff of 100. He's not making Colbert money, but he's making 15 million. He's in the neighborhood. You know, they're living in the same gated community. Colbert was making 20. He's making 15. You know, their yachts are side by side down at Marina Del Rey. You know what I'm saying? And yet it's still losing money. They're still getting feedback from the affiliates, and that's appropriate. How can you argue that the FCC did this when the guy's back on the air? Where was the pressure on Bob Iger? Where was the pressure from Howard Stern and all of Hollywood on Nexstar and on Sinclair and on Disney and on Bob Iger? They were incredibly silent. Instead of saying, hey, why don't you stand up to these guys? Why don't you stand up to the government? No, they just blamed the government. They blamed Carr. They blamed the FCC. And now this has been a tremendous win for the left and for free speech. That's a bunch of crap. That is a bunch of crap. Nobody has argued that this kid, Kimmel, has the right to say whatever he wants about Donald Trump. And he proved that last night in his so-called monologue, where he doubled and tripled down on his criticism of Donald Trump. Let me give you just a statistic on what late night shows look like and how it's changed from the audio we played from you when Johnny Carson said in 1979 in an interview with Mike Wallace, it's very dangerous to go this route because you can have the ability and you start to believe that you have the ability. And these guys clearly all have an agenda. Let me just read you a couple of things. Stephen Colbert, this is the number of Republican guests versus Democratic guests. All right. The first number is the number of Democrats. The second number is the number of Republicans that each one of these respective hosts have had on their show. Stephen Colbert, it's 176 to 1. 176 Democrats have appeared on the Stephen Colbert show. 1 Republican. And I'm guessing it was probably Cheney. I bet it was Liz Cheney. I bet every nickel, all the $78 I got in my checking account right now, that it's Liz Cheney. Oh, Lord. I wrote down abbreviations I can't remember, Chris. Who's TDS?
TDS?
Yes.
Today Show.
No. It's a host.
The host.
The Daily Show. The Daily Show.
The
Daily
Daily
Show. Stewart, 157 to 9. SM, who's SM?
Seth Meyers.
Seth Meyers, 68 to nothing. 68 to 0.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Seth is very, very left.
TN.
Night Show, maybe? No, I just said that earlier. The TN would be...
Or TM. Or JN.
JN would be probably... Well, no, that's Jimmy Fallon.
No, Jimmy Fallon's 41 to 2. Jimmy Fallon, 41 to 2. I can't even read my own initials. It's either TM or JM. I don't know. Well, whatever show that is, it's 58 to 2. The point being, I got to do something. The point being, I got to do something about my penmanship.
Yeah, we got to figure this out. You got to start typing out your notes.
Or just taking my time. I scribble.
Well, that's to be
I don't
understood,
like
though.
write. I'm watching stuff. I'm trying to write it down. I'm scribbling. I can't remember what I'm writing. The point being, though, these entertainment shows have become political voice boxes. It is exactly, 360 degrees from what Johnny Carson was talking about. In fact, when we get back, can you pull that up? That Johnny Carson audio? Let's go ahead and take a break. When we come back, we're going to play this again for you, for those that missed it, or just to reinforce what responsible talk show hosts thought about in the 20th century. And not arguably, but the single greatest late night talk show host, what he thought his role was, what his role could be, and how dangerous it could become. And Papa Jenko, look what we got. We're right living through it. Quick break. Then top of the hour, Howard Marcus will join us. Then at 4:30, I'll tell you a horrendous story with, I guess, a good ending. City of Inglewood took 38 years away from a man's life who was framed for murder and carjacking and rape. But he got a big payoff, but he's 70 years old. And we'll talk about the 7th district win in Arizona for the Democrats. But for some Republicans, it was a good day in Arizona. I'll explain. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on a Wednesday right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.
Do it, Casey.
Thursday edition, Clay and Buck will dive into the big press conference that took place in the White House surrounding autism. Dr. Oz will join us to break all of that down. Plus, ongoing fallout from the Jimmy Kimmel cancel universe. Also, President Trump lining up against his critics when it comes to a potential government shutdown. Thursday edition of Clay and Buck.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You guys know that I'm not a really big fan of Halloween, but can we at least admit that at the end of the night, it's really about a risque evening of ladies wearing kitty cats and police uniforms and the dirty nurse, et cetera, et cetera. Well, that team is picked up at Casey's Steakhouse because on October 31st, Cassie Biddle is throwing a 1001 night party, which is going to skip the costume party and join them for dinner and a belly dancing show. It's going to be a great night with a 5-course meal, 2 craft cocktails, and photos with the belly dancers who'll be performing on F Street for 3 hours that night. It's a night you may not want to miss. October 31st, obviously Halloween night, beginning at 6:30 on F Street at KC Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Please meet Paul Sheldon's client, Marilyn Bull.
Hi, my name is Marilyn Bull. I heard of Paul Sheldon through my husband. So when I retired, I decided I'm going to go to him too. And I'm very pleased. The experience with Paul Sheldon has been great. Every question you asked, he had an answer for. He was patient and explained everything to where you could understand it. So I'm glad I had him to go to because otherwise I would be confused. I would recommend Paul Sheldon to anybody because it is so much easier to go there and have someone actually show you and explain to you what your options are. And when you leave there, if you still didn't quite understand, you can always call and even make an appointment with you and rediscuss the whole thing. I also have recommended it to my sister. Thank you, Paul Sheldon, for all your help, and I wouldn't know what to do without you.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why
not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PARTY5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PARTY5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code PARTY5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
So apparently we did mention Kathy, but it had nothing to do with Measure N. It was we were talking about Measure Proposition 50 and Kathy's displeasure with the current panel that we had. And I was saying that it's not the best thing that we have, this commission that we have that was voted in by 61% of the voters, but it's certainly better than where we were, and that we can still stave off Proposition 50. That's what I was doing. Measure N has not been discussed today. Meantime, what do you got on the board? 842-5376 is our phone number, 842-KERN.
Provided false information. I mean, like Trump us every day. I think they say like Trump does to us every day is what they meant to type. But
Trump doesn't have a television show. And Trump has a gaggle of reporters who can challenge him, which they do every day. And that's a whole lot different than a television personality who has a boss. Donald Trump has a boss. He has 250 million bosses, and the majority of them want him in office. And if disinformation is, you think, a cause for them not to vote for him, and then you lost your mind, because his disinformation campaign has been part of who Donald Trump is. I agree with you on that. But that has got nothing to do with Jimmy Kimmel working for Disney and representing 250 affiliates all over the country and providing false information about a very, very sensitive incident that involved the death that most of us all witnessed of a 31-year-old man and father of two. And if you can't see the difference, what, like Joe Biden told the truth? Like Barack Obama, like any president in the history of this country hasn't lied to us? Really? As Michael Corleone said to Kay, who's being naive now, Kay? Come on. In fact, part of what I forgot to talk about with Kimmel was the complete silence on the left when the Biden administration went after Google and Facebook and Instagram and tried to absolutely silence them, censor them on their COVID coverage. Not a whisper from the left when the Biden administration did that. And finally, the DOJ now is looking into that, looking into how the Biden administration absolutely, by Zuckerberg's own admission, absolutely went after Facebook, who went after anyone who challenged Fauci, anybody who dared to veer against them on vaccinations, absolutely censored social media, which you could argue is bigger than television. Not a whisper from the left. So don't compare what government officials do and what some employee that happens to have a television show that pays him millions of dollars because of our society puts television above just about everything else. What else you got before we get Howard in here?
Ralph, TV and radio personalities can't take a joke or criticism.
What? TV personalities and radio personalities can't take a joke?
Or criticism, is what they said.
Okay, well, taking criticism is what we do for a living. There's not a day goes by that I don't take criticism. Do I argue against it? Well, of course I do. But that's part of the job. And if you are thin-skinned, you won't be doing this very long. You'll have a nervous breakdown if you were thin-skinned and you did a radio show. Good God Almighty. You can't make everybody happy. It's one of the first things that I learned in radio, and particularly in a community like this that is changing, that once was completely conservatively dominated. And now just, I got here in 92 and, I got ran off the air because I was a Democrat. One of the reasons that I got fired, my first radio show, like I said, we were getting decent numbers, but we were having, I think, difficulty getting advertisers because half of the team was an open-minded, liberal, young Democrat. I was, 36, 37 years old at the time, and was a full-throated, vociferously supportive Bill Clinton lover until the end, right around the end of the century. I knew Ron Brown and Ron Brown's family. He was one of the advisors and campaign guys. I went to school with his daughter. In fact, I tried to date his daughter unsuccessfully. And the way he died is very, very questionable. And there are like 5 or 6 people within the Clinton circle that died. Vince Foster. A lot of people died crazily suspiciously. And I just started to back off from the Clintons. And that kind of started my backing off of Democrats. Became an independent. Got called out for being an independent because I was talking like a conservative. And then just said, screw it. Might as well join the party. Because I found as an independent, you had to vote for an independent candidate. And I didn't like that. And I was too stupid to sign up for, what is it, failure to appear, or
no party.
I'm not giving you my identification officer, whatever the hell it's called. Quick time out. Howard Marcus is next.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. At least one detainee is dead and 2 others wounded after a sniper shot at an ICE facility in Dallas Wednesday morning. FBI Special Agent Joe Rothrock said at a morning news conference that the shooting is considered a targeted attack based on evidence found at the scene.
Rounds that were found near the suspected shooter contain messages that are anti-ICE in nature. Again, this is just the most recent example of this type of attack. This will be a whole of government response. There will be no resource not utilized to bring all those individuals who are responsible to bring them to justice and to hold them accountable.
Authorities say no ICE agents were injured and the surviving detainees were in critical condition. Rebecca Heinrichs with the Hudson Institute says in its tough speech at the United Nations yesterday, President Trump did a good job of emphasizing the difference between good intentions and good outcomes.
So he talked about how the UN is supposed to be an organization to promote peace, but it really has not been the UN that has done that. It's been the actions of sovereign nations and really President Trump sort of pressuring countries that have conflicts to get to a peaceful solution.
Heinrichs was interviewed by the Salem Radio Network. A new report finds the Department of Government Efficiency's remaking of the federal workforce has battered the Washington job market and put more households in the metropolitan area in financial distress. Wednesday's report says the number of homes for sale in the District of Columbia, Maryland, Virginia region has jumped by 64% since June of 2024. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 171 points. More at townhall.com.
The Federal Reserve just cut interest rates, and that could be big news for the price of physical gold and silver. That's why Advantage Gold invites you to call 800-741-GOLD. Call now and you'll get your free gold and silver information kit, and you could qualify for up to $10,000 in free gold and silver with your IRA or 401k rollover. Advantage Gold has been ranked the #1 gold company in America for the last 10 years, and with the U.S. dollar facing serious devaluation, now is the time to act. We've partnered with former IMF chief economist Kenneth Rogoff. And when you call 800-741-GOLD, you'll also receive his best-selling book, Our Dollar, Your Problem, absolutely free. Gold and silver are real, tangible assets that have protected wealth for centuries. Advantage Gold helps you move your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals, tax-free and penalty-free. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-741-4653 now. That's 800-741-GOLD.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Bill Robbins. The inmate who escaped custody at Kern Medical had help, and now 2 people have been arrested for aiding Francisco Garcia in his escape over the weekend. Garcia has since been caught in Lamont and rearrested. 32-year-old Jasmine Morales and 20-year-old Electra Espinosa have been charged with helping Garcia escape. Drivers in Bakersfield got a little reminder this morning that you must yield to pedestrians in the crosswalk. CHP Bakersfield conducted an operation and issued 28 citations to drivers who failed to yield. CHP reminds you that you must stop for pedestrians in marked and unmarked crosswalks, always slow down near schools, parks, and neighborhoods, and pedestrians are reminded to always make eye contact with drivers and cross when it's safe. The Kern County Board of Supervisors votes in opposition to the Prop 50 redistricting measure endorsed by Governor Newsom. District Supervisor Philip Peters, who introduced the measure, called it a textbook definition of unfree and unfair elections. The vote against Prop 50 was 4-1, with Leticia Perez the sole dissenting vote. Farm worker rights advocate Dolores Huerta feels differently. She encourages her supporters to vote yes. Prop 50 would do away with an independent commission responsible for drafting California's congressional maps. If Prop 50 passes, the state legislature would draw the map that would last until 2030. 2 men appeared in court on Tuesday to face charges for possession of child pornography. 32-year-old Ryan Jackson and 22-year-old Connor Rubalcado had their public defender enter not guilty pleas on their behalf. Jackson's bail was set at $90,000, Rubalcado's at $50,000. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You gotta get a post like this, bada bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Wednesday, 24th day of September. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at KERNradio.com. So got lots to talk about. I'll tell you the story of the Inglewood man who, framed by the Inglewood Police Department, had a cool settlement of $25 million. The bad news is it took 38 years of his life. He's 70 years old. Hope he lives a long, long life. I really do. And a Democrat has won the 7th District congressional race in Arizona, making that the 218th vote needed to get the Epstein resolution passed. But what about the Senate? We'll delve into that. And it's Ryder Cup week. Nick Ragone will join us tomorrow. It starts on Friday with 4-ball, alternate shot in the morning, where John Rahm will tee off. His partner, Sergio Garcia, would hit the second shot. Rahm would hit the third. Garcia with the fourth, etc., etc., etc. And then in the afternoon, they play best ball, where if Rahm makes a birdie and Garcia makes a par, you put birdie on the score, the best of the two scores, etc., etc. And it's on like Donkey Kong. We'll get into that. The Dodgers are in Arizona tonight, just a game and a half up now on the Padres, and now even just winning the division is in jeopardy because the bullpen are a bunch of arsonists, and I cannot wait. What is the game of the week in week 4 in the NFL, Chris Burdick? Do you know? Do you know? Do you know?
I'm going to say Packers Cowboys.
No, Packers, Cowboys, Green
You're not
Bay
ready
is
for
gonna-
Micah's revenge game?
They're gonna kill him. It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But they're gonna be there to destroy him.
Yeah, fair.
You lost to the Bears, and you think you can beat Green Bay, although they looked horrible against Cleveland.
But Cleveland has the #1 defense in the NFL.
Yeah, but you still that interception that Jordan
Yeah,
threw
no,
was just Jesus. Who are you throwing that
He's
to?
prone to a couple though.
The game of the week will be Patrick versus Lamar.
Ooh, true, because one of these teams
is going to go 1-3.
That's going to be interesting.
And basically, your chances of getting into the playoffs 1-3 ain't good, especially in the divisions that they are, because the Chargers ain't coming back to them. Yeah, everybody else, maybe Denver, but the Raiders ain't gonna be no problem in the West. But we'll see what happens. Meantime, it is Wednesday.
No phone, no pool, no pets.
Ain't got no cigarettes. 2 hours of pushing broom buys a 8 by 12 4-bedroom. I'm a man of means by no means. King of the road. What's really going on, Howard Marcus?
I'll tell you, I can be in a grumpy mood, have a crappy week, and listen to Dean puts everything back to the right.
I know.
Really
I just I wish I only get reels of him on my phone. I wish I could get like the full show. You know?
Is it online somewhere? I wonder if it is.
I bet it is. I bet if I really looked for it, I could find it. If I
I'd love to watch the
YouTubed
whole
it or
show.
something. Yeah. But I just get like I normally get the bits where he's on the piano with Mr. Lane. What was his Kenny Lane? His longtime
Kenny Lane.
pianist who wrote. He wrote "Everybody Loves Somebody."
Oh yeah, you know, there was a special on. I think you saw it on Turner Classic Movies called Dean Martin King of Cool.
Oh yeah. Oh, seen it
Yeah,
a couple
that was
times.
pretty neat.
Yeah, seen it a couple times. Absolutely. I always ask this, but any other interesting Dean Martin? For those that don't know, the 4 or 5, Howard used to work for Mr. Martin back in the what, 80s?
Late 70s, early 80s. Yeah, he was on kind of a hiatus. That was before they were going to redo the Rat Pack, and they started. Remember when they were starting to redo that, and then Dean Paul died, and that was it. And
So you were
to do a nostalgia tour.
You were with him when the son died?
No, just before.
Just before.
I'm glad I wasn't there when the son died because that was it for him. He was done.
That's when you always say he started really drinking.
No, he drank before that.
He did?
drank. Oh, well, back then they didn't have Ambien, they didn't have all the other stuff, and the usual answer was you did a shot or two at night,
Right.
and if you were an insomniac, you did another couple shots. And I liked the guy, so I don't want to speak ill of him, but he was a horrible insomniac. He had one of those first early projection TV sets, those giant ones with a weird 3-color projection.
Oh yeah, we talked about this. Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it, and and he'd be up all night. They'd deliver Johnny Walker with a hand cart.
Really?
Oh yeah, and he'd come out in the morning, and it was magic. He'd come out and he looked 500 years old. He made Yoda look young, and he'd be out there in his bathing suit, and he'd have a cigarette in one hand, a martini in the other, and he'd lay by the pool. And an hour later, I'd come out, and it was Dean Martin again. How the heck does he do that? I wish I could do it.
A cigarette and a martini poolside.
Oh, poolside, and he had one of those. He had Matt Helm's house. I'm not kidding. It was just a wonderful place.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can imagine Matt Helm having a pad in West Hollywood, that's what it was.
Is that where it was? West Hollywood?
Yeah, he was on. He was just off of north off of Doheny, and I used to know his address. I took people there, and here's the real tragedy. They did one of those what they called it at the time it was called the LA remodel.
Right.
You knock down 3 walls, and doesn't count as new construction because you leave 1 wall up. You rebuild the house, and then you knock the last wall down. And when I went by there was this ugly gray cube monstrosity where his house was.
Oh, that's too bad.
That was horrible. And, he lived at 425 Dabney, and he was just down by 3 houses down from his ex Jeannie.
Yeah. That's
why do they do that? I don't get it. You have a house
it's LA. It's LA.
It is LA.
They have there's no traditions and there's no sense of keeping these buildings. I hear they're going to knock down the pantry.
Oh yeah, and
The
I've eaten there
classic-
a bunch of times.
Oh, hundreds of times.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I could remember how many times I've eaten there when I was a kid when we started.
Late night standby.
Oh, exactly. There
Remember
was
the menu.
no locks on the doors.
No, open since I think it was 1924 or 29.
Yeah, 24/7.
Continuously.
24/7.
And it was always open. And it was a shame because I remember they had a policy of actually hiring. At the time, it was basically ex-cons that were going through, trying to reconnect.
Yeah.
And they still had paper straws and Coke in bottles.
Yep.
Big jar of celery on the table and huge steaks. And there was always a wait to get in, but they were open 24/7.
And didn't they go through some funk during the whole? I forget whether it was the vaccination or whether it was the Trump election in 2016, but they found out that the owner had supported Trump, and they started boycotting. Or am I thinking of another?
That might be another place, though.
Yeah, I
think
think
a couple places.
Yeah, I
There was
think
one
I'm thinking of
place
a
where-
different place.
There was a different place where I remember that was the owner was gay, and they contributed to the marriages between two men. I remember that one, and he just made a small contribution, and they basically pushed him under. I don't remember the pantry being involved in that. Because it's possible.
Yeah.
It's another place.
I think I am thinking about the one you alluded to.
Yeah, downtown LA. Everybody wants to know. It was a real historic place, around forever.
It really
Like all
was.
these restaurants, one by one, they're going out.
Yep, it's sad. It really is.
It really is.
You know the one that oh God, what's it called on La Tijera? Big Dog. What am I talking about?
Oh, you don't want the Roscoe's?
No, it starts with a B. It's right off La Tijera once you get off the 405 as you're going toward the airport, and it's where they shot a lot of the Soprano scenes. Oh, Big Dog. What am I talking about? I grew up 10 minutes from. Huh? I can't Google it because I have no idea. Big Dog will text me here in a second. He knows what I'm talking
The only one I can think of in the area was Dinah's, which actually moved.
Ooh, I love Dinah's.
They moved. Remember they had the whole corner. It's gone.
Yeah, they're on what is that? Centinela and Centinela and Lassie.
I think it's Hotel.
No, that's Culver City.
No, well they were up because it runs north south. I was there, the new one, and it was like a ghost town.
Isn't it right across the street from a hotel?
Yeah, a little motel, yeah, something like that. They moved. It's a regular sized restaurant. And in fact, if you blink, you miss it. It's not like the old Dinah's where you couldn't help but see it when you went by.
Yeah, I'm talking about the old one that's kind of near like Westchester.
The old one was wonderful. The whole corner there.
Yeah, and there was like another restaurant right next to it.
Yeah, right next to it, another restaurant. You could order their chicken to go.
Yeah.
They had a German pancake and a apple pancake that were humongous. Yeah, I love that place.
At Sepulveda. That's what it was. It's Sepulveda.
Yeah, Jefferson is Sepulveda. Now I think about it.
Yeah, it's Sepulveda Boulevard.
Yeah,
Yeah, I used to be that was my area. Inglewood, Westchester.
Oh yeah, you had the Fox Hills Mall right there too.
Exactly. Where I went to jail at the Fox Hills Mall. Have you not heard that story, Howard?
Oh, I heard it. Yeah.
13 years old, 13 years old, and they're constructing the Fox Hills Mall, and we all find out the construction trucks work without keys, and I'm the last one to drive it, and all my friends are running for their lives, and I'm like, "What are you afraid I'm going to hit you?" And Officer Bouchot, I will never forget that.
You remember his name? Yeah.
Oh, clearly, man, darker than a damn tire, tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Son, come down, come with me." And they didn't put me in handcuffs. They put me in the backseat of the car. I had to sit on a bench. My parents were out of the country, and my poor grandmother had to come get her grandson
I'd rather go to jail.
I know, out of the Lenox Sheriff Station on Hawthorne Boulevard.
Oh, the stuff that I did, my mom wouldn't even tell my dad I did it because she knew it was going to happen if she did.
I know.
My dad would literally just kill me. He'd make another one.
Howard, I spent the summer begging my grandmother not to tell my parents. And she just kept saying, "Baby, but I have to." I was like, "Why? They didn't print me. I didn't go to jail. It was just an incident. We can just forget about it, Grandma." "No, baby, I got to tell you, Father." Oh, yeah, that was not good. I was like 13, 14 years old. Anyway.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, we spent the whole day just not talking about anything, Howard. Any thoughts on what's going on with Dallas and political violence?
Because in spite of the media spin, it's all been from the left wing. They've been. I think it's very accurate when you demonize any element of the government and basically say it's open season, and which is what they basically said.
Yep.
You're going to have these violent incidents. The real tragedy, regardless of what kind of detainees they were, they didn't get any ICE officers that killed innocent guys.
Yeah.
At least in that incident, innocent. that were basically bystanders. To read the details, they just basically fired. They said he had fired into the building essentially at the van
from a rooftop.
And they were
indiscriminately.
And they said there was a highway right next to it.
Mhm.
There were people going about their business, and he just fired randomly into this van and hit the detainees. And the only good thing about it is he took himself out and saved us a trial.
Yeah.
And the trail was obviously he was another left wing. He was a trans activist and the usual stuff. And unfortunately, this is turning into a copycat thing.
Yeah, it really is.
That's the sad part. We have sick people in society with 330 million people. You could have 1/10, a 100th, a 1%, and you still have a lot of shooters.
Yeah. Yeah. When I heard rooftop, I was like, uh-oh, it's becoming a pattern. It really is from Butler.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
We're the poorer for this because civil dialogue used to be the norm, and now it isn't. And
It just
that
isn't.
was the big change in this was, if you disagree with me, you're not wrong. You're a bad person and deserve whatever happens to you. And on top of that, now it's I'm going to make it happen to you.
Yeah. And that happened. That started with Trump in 2016.
It did.
Where
Yeah, it
people
did.
started, I've seen, I used to be on dating lines, and so many women would be like, they either would say, I'm a Trumper, and if you're not, don't bother me, or I don't date Trumpers. I mean, it's just, people are
I've lost friends
unfriending.
I've known. Yeah. Well, no, I've lost friends I've known since high school over this.
Yeah, people unfriending
they
one
would
another.
say, if you vote for Trump, just unfriend me. And I went, oh, okay, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. It really, really is.
It's a shame. It really is.
And yet all this is coming from the left. And honest to God, Howard, I swear I was going to go in this and not get into a finger pointing thing, but they're in such denial. We have to fight back and say, no, you're wrong. I'm sorry, you're wrong. There's no balance to this. There's absolutely no balance.
Well, it was said earlier by another pundit, it doesn't matter about balance. Each individual act is wrong. I don't want to hear the yes, but. I don't want to hear, on the other hand. No, it's wrong, wrong, wrong.
Right.
Killing people or political beliefs is wrong. I don't care if it's right or left. Right now, it's been mostly left.
Yep.
In the past, it's been right. It's been both sides. We've had plenty of incidents to show that. You can cherry pick all you want, but the reality of it is this is not the America I grew up in.
Mm-mm.
We have a long history of political assassinations going back to Lincoln. There's nothing new. The difference is now the frequency and the ideology is different.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just political leaders, it's anybody. I have a healthcare issue, so I'm going to take out a healthcare leader. Or I'm dating a transgender man, and this guy is against transgenderism, so I'm going to take him out. It is radically changed, and we're not even talking about the school shootings, where these kids are going back to their Catholic schools and shooting children.
Oh yeah, and that's tragic because of the true innocence. They don't get a say in what's going on. They're not out there politicking. They're not out there being activists. They're children. They're kids. They're our most, honestly, the most precious asset that we have are children.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the true innocence. And the only thing like the shooting they had recently at the church, the only thing brought out of that was the heroic actions of children, not adults, not first responders, children.
Yeah.
One boy that threw himself on the other boy.
Yeah, took his life.
Took a bullet.
Took a couple bullets. Yeah, jumping on his friend. Unbelievable. I'll leave you with this. President Trump yesterday said, when asked, should we, because now Putin is further pushing the envelope. They had planes in Estonia, they had planes in Poland, they had drones in Poland, and asked, should they be shot down? He said, yes. Do you believe it? He said, yes, I do. And then went on to say that he believes that Ukraine can take back the 20% of property that Putin has already acquired, and that now is the time to act. What say you?
Well, the second part I'm not so sure about. The first part is, you can go through history with Hitler's Anschluss, the reunification of Austria, the partitioning of Czechoslovakia, all the way up to partitioning of Poland, where we just sat on our hands and hoped that we just appease them enough. The policy of appeasement.
Neville Chamberlain, I can do business with Mr. Hitler.
They're doing it all over again.
Yep.
And it takes a Trump, just like it took a Churchill, to say, no, we've had enough. I think Putin's going to push and push and push. The really dangerous part is Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania are three small countries right there next to Russia that really don't have a land corridor or NATO, and they're very vulnerable.
Yep, absolutely.
And we've got NATO troops in those countries. So if he decides to go in, it's going to be a shooting war.
Yeah.
And we have to put a message out. If you cross our airspace, we're going to treat you just as we would any intruder from a hostile nation and shoot them down. And I think if we do that, it'll stop.
And it's
Or
amazing.
it'll escalate, and it's going to be inevitable otherwise.
Yes, and it's amazing to hear, particularly on CNN, and I'm not just doing this because of partisanship, to hear them talk about this like, can you believe what he said? Can you believe that we're going to shoot down? But what do you think Article 5 of NATO is about? What do you think NATO is about? What do you think the NATO treaty is about? It is about you attack one of us, you attack all of us. And if we don't take that seriously, what in the world do you think Vladimir Putin is going to do?
Well, he's trying to render NATO irrelevant. That's
exactly
the problem. NATO. You have countries in NATO, and people don't realize how long France was not an active member of NATO under de Gaulle. And people don't realize if they don't react that way, then there is no reason to have NATO.
Exactly. And he can do whatever the hell he wants, and he will march all over Western Europe.
Yeah, the only saving The only saving grace is the countries right on the border, Poland, Hungary, some of these other countries that know full well that they're next and are not going to let that happen.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Poland unilaterally didn't shoot down the planes.
Yeah.
Because they had every right to do so, whether it's NATO or not. The national sovereignty is stake.
Yep. They absolutely should.
The next time this incursion happens, I almost guarantee they're going to shoot the planes down.
Yeah, absolutely. No question.
They should.
As well they should. Always good to talk to you, Howard. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll wrap to you next Thursday.
All righty, dude.
Bye, man. Take care. Howard Marcus. Quick timeout. Coming right back. Not a lot of time before we get to the bottom of the hour. I'll tell you a story about an Inglewood man who was framed by the Inglewood Police Department. And I guess to some level, all well that ends well. I guess. Then come up at 5, we'll talk a little politics, what's going on in Arizona, how that affects the Epstein case, and talk a little sports. It's Ryder Cup week. Big matchup between the Ravens and the Chiefs. One of them will leave Missouri 1-3, which means your playoff hopes are all but dashed. And the Dodgers did it again. Oh, by the way, your guy, Chris Burdick, hit another home run. So he's got 2 more home runs than my guy.
And 40 plus RBIs, but yes.
40 more, but how many innings did he pitch last night? I'm just wondering. Because my guy,
we'll see what happens.
My guy threw 6 scoreless innings to go along with his 5 no-hit innings to his prior start.
Okay, Ralph. Okay. All right. Now,
MVP.O.
And what seed are the Dodgers in?
What are they doing?
MVP, Dodgers and MVP.
Valuable player.
Matters. Your record matters.
Ohtani. Quick timeout. Coming right back. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180.
You're going to have maybe a minute when we get back.
Medicare beneficiaries here in Kern County. If you are eligible for Medicare and looking for a doctor who listens and cares about you with minimal wait times and prompt referral authorizations, it's time you learned about QualCare IPA. QualCare IPA contracts with most Medicare Advantage health plans and provides you with access to a large network of outstanding doctors and quality hospitals right here in Kern County. Medicare Advantage health plans go beyond original Medicare benefits coverage, and understanding these coverage differences may be confusing. Call us today at 661-554-4544 and let us help you understand your healthcare options for 2025. Call today, 661-554-4544. That's 661-554-4544. Get the information you need and the coverage you deserve. For accommodations of persons with special needs at meetings, call 661-554-4544, TTY 711.
Hey folks, this is Michael Benj, noted barbecue connoisseur.
Oh, hand me that microphone. This is the real Michael Benj, noted barbecue connoisseur. That was my buddy Jeff Salters doing his best impression of me. And you'll never guess where I am. I'm sitting here eating barbecue with the man. Hey, why don't you tell us about what's going on with the catering in the banquet hall?
Thanks, bud. Yes, we have got the catering line. It is hopping. People are calling in, booking their caterings right now. And for those of you looking for a banquet hall or a facility to host your event, we got you covered. Salty's Banquet and Event Center, 6720 Chirag Court. So just give us a call at 661-563-2739, 661-563-2739.
Salty's Barbecue and Catering, 9425 Rosedale Highway and 6801 White Lane.
Hey, folks, you know the line. Say it with me. California grilled,
Texas approved.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
If you're driving a car or truck with an expired warranty and suddenly lost your transmission or needed a full engine repair, would a $4,000 repair bill leave you stranded? I'm Danica Patrick. Don't get caught off guard with a vehicle breakdown. Choose the company I trust. Endurance. No matter the mileage, if your vehicle is less than 20 years old, Endurance offers auto protection plans
Do they do it Wednesdays or Thursdays?
On the
I think it's Thursdays.
transmission, AC,
So
and
is it
more.
him tomorrow?
Plus 24/7 roadside
It's him
assistance
tomorrow?
and rental car reimbursement on any plan. Endurance handles everything from making the claim to paying the certified mechanic.
Yeah, from what it was explained to me, I believe it's his turn this week.
A year of elite benefits, a $2,000 value, free.
Call for your fast free quote today. Call 800-298-2007. That's 800-298-2007. 800-298-2007.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Lover, lover.
Hey, this reminds me of Saturday night. So far out of my. Oh, Ralph. We headed to the back half of the hour on this Wednesday. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Recent polling shows President Trump's second-term strengths look different from his first. His approval was once strengthened by economic issues, but it's now tepid on that front. His best issues now are crime, border security, and immigration. Trump's overall approval has been fairly steady in the Associated Press North Center for Public Affairs Research polling since he took office in January. A drone launched by Yemen's Houthi rebels wounded 22 people in the southern Israeli city of Eilat on Wednesday, according to medics. It marked a rare breach of Israel's sophisticated missile defenses, which have greatly limited casualties from such attacks. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 171 points. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Bill Robbins. The Kern County Board of Supervisors votes in opposition to the Prop 50 redistricting measure endorsed by Governor Newsom. District Supervisor Philip Peters, who introduced the measure, called it a textbook definition of unfree and unfair elections. If Prop 50 passes, the independent commission that drafts California's congressional maps would disappear, and the state legislature would draw the map. Two men appeared in court on Tuesday to face charges for possession of child pornography. 32-year-old Ryan Jackson and 22-year-old Connor Rubalcado had their public defender enter not guilty pleas on their behalf. Jackson's bail was set at $90,000, Rubalcado's at $50,000. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra, live in concert, presenting The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, the best of TSO and more. November 25th, Dignity Health Arena. Tickets on sale now at AXS.com.
I was always tired, sleepy, and had no energy.
I had relentless, debilitating headaches.
Valley fever has many faces and impacts people differently. If you have a lingering cough, fever, or painful breathing for more than 2 weeks, talk to your doctor.
I am Quan Louie.
I am Bryn Kerrigan.
And we are the faces of Valley Fever.
Visit KernPublicHealth.com to learn more.
It's the JR Show.
Have you guys been down California Avenue lately between Real Road and Stockdale? My goodness, the construction is an absolute mess. You can't get in and out of businesses during certain times. It rotates. Nobody is notifying anybody about when roads are going to be open. The city has dropped the ball on this. Seriously, it took me 15 minutes just to get home from work. I live right across the street. I could have walked home faster. And the worst part is, it's going to last till the end of October.
The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
Kisses. So I'm satisfied. I've cured, not satisfied. Still satisfied works. The singing issue.
Really?
Yeah. All I do is back off the mic. See, now you turn off the music so you can hear me. But I was singing that whole time. I guess I'm still torturing those that are on YouTube because my microphone is on my Adam's apple. You probably hear me.
There ain't no fixing that one.
Yeah,
no.
they can probably hear me, but I just backed off the mic and I sang the whole song, and most of the people listening on radio never even heard me. And it still just kind of eases my nerves. It's just a bad habit that I got early. I don't know if there's any other broadcaster in radio that literally sings on his news talk show. And I don't know how it started. It just kind of calms me as we go into the break. And
Well, if I ever start on an early bird, then I'm going to blame you.
why have you started singing on your show?
No, I haven't.
No.
But I'm saying if I do, I'm blaming
Yeah,
you for it.
Yeah, just a weird habit. I don't do it for entertainment. I don't do it as part of my shtick. Just a bad habit. I got a couple of radio bad habits. That's one of them. That's one of them. That's another one of them. I don't know. I break every rule in radio. I'm not supposed to be a radio talk show. Just kind of stumbled into it and kind of got good at it, I guess. And 21 years later, here we are. 842-5376, 842-KERN. I want to share this story about this Inglewood man. This just caught my eye because, again, as most of you know, I lived in Inglewood. I worked for the Inglewood News. I grew up about 10, 15 minutes away from Inglewood. I spent a lot of time at the Forum as a young man. My sister was born at Sentinel Hospital in Inglewood the week that Dan Blocker died. And my parents were at the hospital already, so my grandparents had to drive us in from Cerritos, California. And it literally took us 3 hours to get to the hospital. And it was a 10-year-old in the back crying, "I just want to see my sister." And we just drove around. Like, I think at one point we were almost in Orange County. My grandparents were like probably my age. They're probably in their late 60s. And we just drove around LA for 3 hours and finally found it somehow. This is before the Thomas Guide, and we were going by maps. My grandmother was trying to read the map to my grandfather. It was just a nightmare. But so I have a very close association with Inglewood, is what I'm trying to say. And apparently we got a couple of phone calls, so I'll take that and then tell you the story of Maurice Hastings. Who you got?
Just Jerry on the line.
Jerry, you're on the Ralph Bailey Show.
Hey, Ralph, a couple of things. First of all, don't worry about people that are complaining about your singing. You're just fine, and it's.
Yeah, no, I really don't get any complaints. Most of the complaints throughout my entire career have come from either management or the sales department.
Oh, okay. I thought you were.
Which is probably worse, I suppose, but that's beside the point.
Yeah, I thought someone was giving you a hard time.
No, I just realized it's not of high value. Anyway, go ahead. What's up?
Anyway, I like it when you sing along.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
It's because, you know why? Because you know the songs and you feel it and you know it and that's history, what you do actually.
Okay.
The reason why I'm calling is about Inglewood. When I was at UCLA, I used to work out with some of the guys from the baseball team, and I wasn't on the team, but I loved the game so much. And so I used to drive down to Dorsey. Is Dorsey pretty close to Inglewood?
No. Dorsey is down by Crenshaw. In fact, I think it's off. I think it's off Crenshaw Boulevard, as a matter of fact.
Well, anyway, one of the guys that I played with, his name was Sheldon Curry back in the mid 70s. And I heard he became the city manager of Inglewood. And I've been trying to get a hold of him because he was a great guy. And because of him, I ended up playing another, 40 years of hardball.
Really?
Because they were nice enough to invite me down there. So I'd drive down. I guess I was living in Santa Monica. And I'd drive down all the way to Dorsey and work out. And it was great. And I didn't get to play for UCLA, but I worked there, and I was a tutor and a teaching assistant.
Well, you must have been a heck of a player if you got that close.
Yeah, well, I was actually I was okay. I was a singles hitter, but I got a lot of singles. We used to play when I came to Bakersfield. We used to play with some of the Bakersfield Dodgers and those other guys, the Blaze. We had some of the Blaze players that actually played in our men's adult league. It was called the Men's Adult Baseball, MABL league. And we used to play at Sam Lynn when the Dodgers weren't there.
Wow.
And it was so much fun. I remember playing in right field when it was a real hot day. And it was, probably 107, 108. Because in the right field, you got those billboards and you're just kind of, but, we were used to it because we played at Riverview. I played 25 years of hardball from like 80, on up about 25 years. And I was old then. I was like 28. I went till I was almost 50.
Wow.
About 50. Yeah. But I was hitting singles, never got a home run. The only ball I hit was at Riverview, a guy named Matt Jeladich. He was playing the outfield and I was swinging a wood bat. I was swinging a 35-inch Mark McGuire, and I hit the thing, and, I got it around, and it was like to right center about 330, and I mean center, just to the right of center. And I said to myself, he's either going to catch it or it's going to be a home run, and I wanted to watch it. So I'm like halfway down first watching it, and the ball goes over his head, and it hits the fence, and I ran so fast, he almost threw me out at first. So I got like a 320 whatever foot single. But anyways, it was fun. It was a great, I played with a lot of great guys, and some of the guys, like I said, were sorry about that, I went under a tunnel. Some of the guys were on the Blaze actually, so it was fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for that information. By the way, did you know who graduated from Dorsey High School? Sparky Anderson.
Oh, Sparky, the coach?
Yeah, he played there and graduated from there.
The Big Red Machine. Huh?
Yeah, I hated him growing up. God, I hate the Cincinnati Reds. They would kick our behinds. All right, man.
We'll talk about it sometime.
All right, take care, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll see you. Isn't that incredible? when I was a kid, do you know what made up the National League West? The Dodgers, the Giants, the Houston Astros.
Oh, wow.
The Atlanta Braves.
Oh, yeah, this is back when they all
And the
thought.
Cincinnati Reds. That was the National League West. And I could never understand it because Cincinnati would dominate us throughout the early 70s before we got on board. And I was just like, why are we vying with these guys? They're in Ohio. That ain't West. Isn't that east of the Mississippi? I'm not a big geography guy. I'm pretty sure that's east of the Mississippi, isn't it? Anybody?
I'm pretty sure, but I'm not very good at geography either.
I'm pretty sure that's east of the Mississippi. But that was the shape of the National League West back in the day. It's absolutely crazy. Let me quickly tell you the story of Maurice Hastings, this 70-year-old man who was arrested back in 1983 and essentially framed by Inglewood detectives who lied on him and coerced witnesses to lie on him. And he was convicted in 1983 and did a cool 38 years in prison. Biological evidence collected from a woman by the name of Roberta Weidermeyer had been preserved but never tested. Weidermeyer was the victim in the alleged well, it wasn't an alleged carjacking, it was a carjacking, raping, and murdering. And despite Hastings, our man, Maurice, asking the LA County District Attorney's Office as far back as 2000 to investigate this, they would not. He wrote in 2000 that the evidence gathered for a sexual assault kit, quote, will conclusively show that I was not the person involved with the deceased at the time of the crime. That evidence was eventually tested in June 2022. I'm reading, by the way, from the LA Times. And Hastings was freed in October that year. DNA evidence eventually pointed to serial rapist Kenneth Packnett, who died in 2020. Packnett carjacked Roberta Weidermeyer on June 19th, 1983. She had been running errands when she stopped at the Boys Market on Crenshaw Boulevard, which also touches home because I've been in that Boys Market on Crenshaw Boulevard. It's right down the street from Stocker. It's right near where my parents lived for a short period of time when their house got all smoky, kind of near Baldwin Hills. Packnett forced her to perform oral sex and then shot her in the head with a revolver. He drove around in the victim's Cadillac Eldorado for a day with her body in the trunk. Weidermeyer's husband and friend Pinson looked for her near where she disappeared and saw Packnett driving around in her car. Hastings is the victim of a system that demands victims from the two men caught up to Packnett, the husband and the son, inquired about Roberta Weidermeyer, and then followed him when they were not satisfied with his answer. Packnett eventually fired 3 shots at their vehicle, with one hitting Billy Weidermeyer in the head. He was rushed to the hospital and survived. And despite evidence at the time pointing to Packnett, which included numerous witnesses' accounts, Inglewood detectives Grant Price and Russell Earnhardt pinned Hastings as a suspect. Hastings had used a calling card number that belonged to Weidermeyer and was in her wallet at the time of the slaying. The number had been given to him by an acquaintance, we later found out. Price and Earnhardt also created composite descriptions of a suspect who resembled Hastings and not Packnett, though Billy Weidermeyer and Pinson gave details that pointed to Packnett. The detectives were also alleged to have fabricated evidence against Hastings, including false testimony from witnesses. Well, they convicted him, and he did 38 years in prison. And as I said, he was released, and the city of Inglewood settled with him for a cool $25 million. And that is thanks to the LA Innocence Project, which really does some great work. They go, I think, beyond, they're looking to try to get the Menendezes out. I think they were trying to get Sirhan out. I think many times they go too far, but it's a remarkable job. I mean, our system literally is set up where we'd rather 9 people who are guilty go free than 1 person who is not guilty have to go to prison. That's our system. I didn't create that, y'all. You got to talk to Tom and Ben and John Adams, et cetera, but that's our system. And this man had 38 years of his life, really the prime years of his life, throughout his 30s and his 40s. Well, no, well, do the math, Chris. What's 38 from 70?
That would be.
Well, let's say 40 would
32?
make him 30. So yeah, it'd make him 32 years old. So 32, I mean, those are your prime years. 32 was right around the time I started to figure it out. I know you're supposed to start figuring it out right around 22, 25, and what are you going to do? It was about 32, 35, maybe even 40 when I started to figure it out. I'm lying. I was in my 50s when I figured it out. I'm lying. It was about 10 years ago when I really started to understand what I'm about, what I'm supposed to be about, what my calling was, et cetera, et cetera. But this is just incredibly frightening. And what is the motivation for these detectives to not get the right guy? I mean, I thought that's what police work was all about. Let's get the right guy. But sometimes I think crooked cops just go for the shortcut. And if we've got a little evidence and we can convince a couple of other people, we can get this guy. And then meantime, a serial rapist is running loose. I don't understand it. $25 million at 70. I hope he has a good life. At 70, what would you do with $25 million?
I think you said it earlier in the show, but I think it's true. But I don't even know if he has enough time left to spend it all. You'd have to go out of your way to spend 25. This is a Brewster's Millions kind of a thing, right?
Yeah, I'd leave like 5, maybe 10 to my family.
Especially somebody who's been in prison for 30 plus years, has no idea what the heck to do outside of it.
Well, that's what's so great. I'd leave 10 to my family. I distribute that among my family. I take the 15 and I would go see the world.
Yeah.
I would start in LA and I would just party my behind off in LA. Then I would fly to New York and I would stay in the best hotel in New York City. And I'd spend a month. Then I think I'd go down to Miami. I just worked my way around the country. I'd go to Miami, then I'd hit Atlanta, then I'd go up to DC, then maybe through Philly, Boston, Chicago. I'd go to every major city in the country, and then let's get a passport. And I'm off to Puerto Rico, I'm off to Mexico City, I'm off to where I've always wanted to go, Madrid, Barcelona,
Greece.
Portugal, Greece. Go back to Switzerland, France. I could give or take France. I've been there. I give or take France. But I've never been to Italy. I do Rome, certainly. 38 years of your life gone. That is, and God knows where they put him. I didn't even see that in the story. Knowing that you're innocent. And you're with like killers and carjackers and rapists. And you were an innocent man.
I pray he didn't have any of those types of situations.
Oh, you know he did.
I know, but
to drop the soap and the whole beating up and having to get with gangs to save yourself from white supremacist gangs. And prison is a tough place to be, boy. It really is. Let's go ahead and take a break. Come right back. We'll check the board again, see what you guys are talking about. We'll get into the 5. We'll get into that 7th district congressional race in Arizona and what it means for the Epstein freaks that want to see all the files. The Dodgers did it again last night. Thank you, Tanner Scott, Mr. Dreyer, and the rest of those arsonists down in left field. We's in big troubles, as Amos and Andy used to say. We's in big troubles. Ugh. And it's Ryder Cup week. Nick Ragone joins us tomorrow. It kicks off on Friday, culminates on Sunday with the singles, kicks off on Monday with alternate shot, and then best ball in the afternoon. And the American team is not as talented, in my opinion, to be honest with you. And we've been dominated over the last decade by the Europeans now that they've expanded it to include really the whole world. But we are undefeated in our last 2 attempts on American soil. So there's some good and some bad. We'll talk to our golf aficionado and now the creator of yet another Champions Tour event for Jefferson Health in Philadelphia, PA. Again, Nick Ragone, our guest tomorrow. Quick break, coming right back. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Hump Day Wednesday, the beginning of fall, by the way. Fall has officially fell. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1, AM 1180, KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Thursday edition of the First Look program, we will avail ourselves of the services of Dr. Corey Gonzalez, local psychologist. We can all do with a little bit of that right about now. And we'll back all of that up with state-of-the-art news and traffic and, yes, weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
It's that man again, Ralph Bailey from Sangera Subaru. One of the best things I admire about Subaru, how they give back to our community. And the start of the school year is the perfect time to recognize our teachers and principals with Subaru's VIP Educator Program. Now, through October 31st at Sangera Subaru, teachers, principals, or assistants of pre-K through 12th grade are eligible to receive $500 off the purchase or lease of a brand new Subaru. That's right, $500 in savings plus utilizing Subaru's monthly sales incentive. So, if you're a teacher, principal, or assistant, call Sangera Subaru at 661-836-3737 or stop by and see my dear friends Damon Culberts and Hassan Levy. The whole Subaru team is ready to help, but it's only good through October 31st. Sangera Subaru, paving the way for a better community.
Offer available August 1st through October 31st and subject to change. Cannot be combined with any other VIP programs, but can be combined with retailer or consumer incentives. This offer applies to active classroom teachers, principals, and vice principals at pre-K through 12 schools.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey, Wisconsin.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PARTY5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PARTY5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code PARTY5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank.
So bad.
Bartlett Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Oh no, Dad, I spilled juice on the carpet.
Don't worry, kiddo. We have stain-resistant carpet from Carpet Outlet Plus.
Dad, look, he dumped his water bowl all over the new floors.
Everything is fine. We have brand new waterproof floors from Carpet Outlet Plus. You can find everything you need for family-proof floor at Bakersfield's best flooring store. Now offering 1 year, no interest financing. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk
Yeah, we can do this tonight.
96.1 and
This will
AM
take- we can
1180
do this tonight. This will take a second.
KERN. Now, back to the Ralph.
842-5376, 842-KERN. What do you got on the board?
Hi, Ralph.
Hi.
If black people have the same educational opportunities as white people, then you would expect them to do as well on FAA examinations. Do black people have the same educational opportunities as white people, in your opinion? That's from Steve Jones.
Yes. Yes, I believe we do. I think there was a period in American history, obviously, when we didn't. But I think, yes, the opportunities are there and we just don't take advantage of them. I don't think there's any question about that education is there for African Americans or for anyone in this country. Is a white education in a white community equal to a black education in a black neighborhood? Of course not. Let's be real. But I've seen where my father went to high school, and you all would think it was a movie set where literally Robert Smalls High School, when my father, because this is when I was young, obviously it's much better now, and it was much better when I was in college, but I'm talking about when I was like 10 years old, 1972, 73, when I started to understand what was going on when we would go down to Beaufort, South Carolina, and I began to understand how my dad grew up. And I visited his high school. In fact, it's one of the scenes in The Great Santini, a movie with Robert De Niro that's set in Beaufort, South Carolina. He's a fighter pilot that, I hate to ruin it for you, that dies at the end of the movie. It's with Blythe Danner. And that high school that the kid goes to is Beaufort High School, they call it, but it's Robert Smalls High School. My dad graduated. And to see that he came out of that and was able to get into Morehouse College, was able to get into the University of South Carolina, but they denied him because he was black. They didn't realize he was black when he sent in his papers because they didn't have picture licenses back in the 50s, not in South Carolina. And to see him go on to Meharry Medical College and become an anesthesiologist out of that high school, yeah, I think it doesn't matter where you are. Morehouse College began as a candle in the dark. It's a classic book where the slaves would go down in the basement because the white folks didn't want them to learn how to read, and the pastors would teach them how to read. If education is available to you, no matter what level it is, if you take it seriously, yes, it's the magic bullet. And unfortunately, what is the bane of my existence is that of all the minority groups in the United States, truly African Americans are the only ones that have not completely adopted education. The Latinos have gotten it. The Sikhs have certainly got it. Asians have certainly got it. Black women have completely embraced it. But young black men are not taking advantage of the education, whether it's equal to a white education or not. It remains the magic bullet that can get you out of the ghetto, that can get you into college, and that can get you in a decent tax bracket. Final hour of the broadcast. I'd stick around if I you.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Yet another shooting in the U.S., this time at an ICE facility in Dallas, Texas, killing one detainee and wounding two others critically. Senator Ted Cruz says this is the third shooting in Texas directed at ICE or Customs and Border Patrol.
This must stop. To every politician who is using rhetoric, demonizing ICE and demonizing CBP, stop. To every politician demanding that ICE agents be doxxed and calling for people to go after their families, stop. This has very real consequences.
The FBI said ammunition found at the scene contained anti-ICE messaging. The agency says it's investigating the shooting as an act of targeted violence. President Trump's approval rating has flipped with white voters. Correspondent Bernie Bennett has more.
According to polling by the economist YouGov, the proportion of white voters who support President Trump has increased by 8 percentage points after it previously declined. The polling rebound means Mr. Trump's approval rating among the demographic is now positive. Caucasian voters are a key group in the president's base. More than 8 in 10 Trump voters in the 2024 election were white, according to the Associated Press. Pew Research Center found that 55% of white voters voted for Trump in 2024 and 2020, and that 54% of white people opted for him in 2016. Bernie Bennett reporting.
A drone launched by Yemen's Houthi rebels wounded 22 people in the southern Israeli city of Eilat on Wednesday, according to medics. It marked a rare breach of Israel's sophisticated missile defenses, which have greatly limited casualties from such attacks. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 171 points, the Nasdaq dropped 75. More at townhall.com.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
My debt problem started probably about 2016. I needed my life to change financially. I called Trinity and I ended up joining based on high credit card bills and high interest rate. And my counselor at Trinity has been great, and Trinity has been helping me to get on the right path of paying off these credit card bills, bringing down the interest rate. They have consolidated my bills into one low monthly payment. And now I am finally getting out of credit card debt. So I just want to say thank you, Trinity, for showing me a better and greater path.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Sharon, and soon I will be debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Bill Robbins. The inmate who escaped custody at Kern Medical had help, and now 2 people have been arrested for aiding Francisco Garcia in his escape over the weekend. Garcia has since been caught in Lamont and arrested. 32-year-old Jasmine Morales and 20-year-old Electra Espinosa have been charged with helping Garcia escape. Drivers in Bakersfield got a little reminder this morning that you must yield to pedestrians in the crosswalk. CHP Bakersfield conducted an operation and issued 28 citations to drivers who failed to yield. CHP reminds you that you must stop for pedestrians in marked and unmarked crosswalks, always slow down near schools, parks, and neighborhoods, and pedestrians are reminded to always make eye contact with drivers and cross when it's safe. The Kern County Board of Supervisors votes in opposition to the Prop 50 redistricting measure endorsed by Governor Newsom. District Supervisor Philip Peters, who introduced the measure, called it a textbook definition of unfree and unfair elections. The vote against Prop 50 was 4-1, with Leticia Perez the sole dissenting vote. Farm worker rights advocate Dolores Huerta feels differently. She encourages her supporters to vote yes. Prop 50 would do away with an independent commission responsible for drafting California's congressional maps. If Prop 50 passes, the state legislature would draw the map that would last until 2030. 2 men appeared in court on Tuesday to face charges for possession of child pornography. 32-year-old Ryan Jackson and 22-year-old Connor Rubalcado had their public defender enter not guilty pleas on their behalf. Jackson's bail was set at $90,000, Rubalcado's at $50,000. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour, or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think, this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You gotta get up close like this. Bada bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Wednesday, 24th day of September. Just a couple of days left at the Great Kern County Fair. A lot of y'all got in free or getting in free as we speak because of it's feed the food day, feed the feed day. You get in free with 6 cans of food, basically. And I have no idea who the talent is. Do you know who the talent is tonight? I had that. Oh, you know what? Oh, no. I left it at the fair. We were out there last Friday, had a great time. Got to meet a lot of you all. It was fun. Appreciate you all coming up and saying hello. Trying to put a face with the voice. Mr. Flores wasn't with us. He bailed. He sat with us like for a hot minute at the end of the broadcast.
That's the Isley brothers.
Oh, that's right. I did know that.
How have I not been playing the
The
Isley Brothers?
play some Isley Brothers as we go out tonight in the final hour. 842-5376, 842-KERN. So a woman by the name of Adelita, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing this wrong, Grijalva, Grijalva, won the special election that was brought about by the death of her father. Her father was a longtime congressman in that 7th district there, and the Republicans really didn't have a shot, but obviously gave it all they had. And there are some Republicans that are happy with the victory because one of the things that she campaigned on was, and it's amazing to me that this is a campaign issue, but it's all about this Epstein file. And she campaigned on the fact that I will be the 218th vote based on a number of Republicans who have sided with releasing this thing. Nancy Mace from South Carolina, Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia, Tom Massey, I believe from Tennessee, is one of the guys that's leading this, that's trying to get it on the floor. And he's got 7 days to get it on the floor. The House is not in session right now, but when they return, Massey will have 7 days after Grijalva, 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 the new congresswoman out of the 7th district in Arizona.
There you
go. She'll be the 218th vote. So this thing's going to get to the Senate, and it'll be interesting to see what they do in the Senate. You know, obviously, the whole system is set up. They're the more deliberative body. They have the longest term of any elected official in 6 years. So the assumption is they can take more risks, because who is going to remember, if you're a new senator 4 or 5 years from now, your vote on the Epstein files? It's very rare. So they can take more chances than members of Congress, who literally have to start campaigning a year into their term, and their term is just 2 years. So it'll be fascinating to sit back and watch. I don't know. You guys chime in. Are y'all really still that caught up in this Epstein thing? It's one of the most incredibly self-inflicted wounds I've ever seen, simply because the whole Pom Bondi thing, the list is on my desk, it's all coming out, the whole campaign, even during the campaign, Trump promised we were going to get to the bottom of this. His once he appointed this clown cabinet, they all talked about it. Patel talked about it. And they're just fueling this thing. And then Kash Patel, who, again, I'm sorry, but you all know, I think is just an absolute joke. I mean, beyond incompetent, beyond not having the prerequisites to lead the FBI, but he's just a joke. And he went on and he said, and let me ask you if you believe this. He said that there is absolutely no evidence that either Miss Maxwell or Epstein were trafficking women for anybody but Epstein. Now, seriously, ask yourself, do you really believe that? That's what the FBI director said. That's what your guy said. That Ghislaine Maxwell was pimping strictly for Epstein. Then why is she in a federal prison? Well, she's been moved to a camp, which is another entire issue with this crazy Epstein deal. She sits down with Todd Blanche, the president's former personal attorney, and now a member of the DOJ, in fact, second in command of the Department of Justice. He sits down with her in a federal prison in Florida, which is a pretty harsh place, which is exactly where that pimp, horrible, god-awful human being belongs. And 48 hours later, she's transferred to Texas to a camp with no bars and just lines and not even a fence surrounding it. And from what I understand, and obviously I have no idea what I'm talking about, but from what pundits are saying, what people that are involved with law enforcement are saying, that this is unprecedented for a woman of the charges that she was found guilty of, human trafficking, for her to be sitting in a camp where some woman that was involved with the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City got sentenced to? Really? Like, I don't even know what the broad's crime was, but it's part of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. How bad could her crime have been? Certainly wasn't on the level of, oh, I don't know, pimping and human trafficking. And yet somehow mysteriously, 48 hours after she met with a representative of the Department of Justice, she gets moved. And Patel goes before Congress and says it was completely out of our hands. It was the Department of Prisons, the Bureau of Prisons that moved her. Again, do y'all believe that? Really? You believe in coincidences? She sits down with the second in command of the DOJ, and 48 hours later, she's moved to a camp that's much, much like we were just talking about. Prison's hard. Prison's a hard place, particularly if you're a human trafficker, particularly if you deal with kids. We saw that here locally, where a woman accused of killing and torturing an 8-year-old got her ass beat openly. The woman didn't even deny it. Yeah, I beat her ass. I'm just asking you guys, you're honest with yourselves. You really think that there were no other suspects than Mr. Epstein? You really don't think that Prince Andrew was involved? You really don't think that Bill was involved? Mr. Clinton? Come on now. But this is your guy. This is the head of the FBI. In the meantime, when I'm on a roll about this clown cabinet, you see that Pete Hegseth now is forcing reporters to sign an agreement that they won't report anything that the Pentagon doesn't want them to report. Pete Hegseth, your guy, part of what has to be one of the worst cabinets in American history. You really think that's a good idea? You really do? Where we're going to squash what reporters can find out? If you're an old person, you remember something called the Pentagon Papers, where it was discovered what was really going on behind the scenes in Vietnam. And they got released. And Nixon was willing to go after the New York Times with everything he had. And the Supreme Court stood by them. And Nixon had to eat it. And then, of course, there was some other thing that popped up that got his attention. But it's just not a good idea, folks. And why? Why, as Republicans, should we stand up for this? For the very reason that I talked about at the beginning of the show. The pendulum swings. It really does. And as hard as it may be for us to believe, there will be Democrats ruling the White House one day. There will be Democrats that will be ruling the White House, perhaps even the House and the Senate, all at the same time. And what do you think they're going to do? They're going to weaponize the government right back at us. They're going to target Fox. The FCC will come after them. The Department of Justice will go after people. This thing, it's a copycat league. And it's just going to go back and forth until we're all gray and old and looking to jump into a box. It's a dangerous, slippery slope to go down. It really, really is. And I'm happy to see that at least some Republicans are speaking out against things like this, the weaponization, the silliness that's going on at the Pentagon, and Kash Patel. And we've got the Charlie Kirk killer. We got him. What? Wait a minute, we don't got him. I mean, and you can still defend it and say, Ralph, you're wrong, this guy's competent. When you on national television told us we had the killer and they didn't. Okay, well, you gotta do what you gotta do, you gotta believe what you gotta believe. But I just think Hegseth, Kennedy, telling women not to take Tylenol. Really?
I got a lot of friends that are going crazy with that one right now.
It's nuts. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Women have been taking Tylenol long before this dramatic rise. Women have been taking Tylenol for fevers for decades.
I think you said it beautifully yesterday. It's a chicken or the egg kind of a thing.
Yeah.
If it's the fever, then I think you need to combat the fever, not.
And that's why they're taking the Tylenol. And then the president comes out and says, well, you shouldn't take it unless it's medically needed. Well, what do you think? They're just popping them like chiclets after dinner mints? And like I said, and let me make it clear, because Kathy and maybe others misconstrued what I said, 65% of women take Tylenol. And I don't think they take it for pain. I really don't. I think women suck it up during the pain. I think the only time that women don't suck it up for the pain, do you know when, Mr. Burdick?
When they're having the baby.
And what are they asking for?
Epidural.
Epidural. Which, of course, forces me to get off the freeway onto a side road, onto a Bailey family story. My sister is having, told us 1,000 times, my sister's having her first baby, young Christopher Marcus Jefferson. It was a great night. It was a Friday night. I was covering high school football. I got a page. I was watching, it was the Banning Carson game. It was a huge game. I literally had to go to a telephone and call my sports editor and say, dude, my sister's having a baby. I'm not covering Banning. I'm not covering the second half. I got to go. I said, go. I go to Daniel Freeman Hospital, I think is where she had Christopher. And it's a young intern, or not, I don't think he's an intern. I think he's just past his residency. He's about a 30-year-old physician. He's an African-American kid. And he's having problems with the epidural. And my mother and I are in the room, and my dad is in the room, and he's having problems with the epidural. And my mother and I look like, should we poke Dad and say, why don't you just kind of take over? And before we could even say anything, my father's like, young man, let me handle this. And my dad, which I could never tell the story while my dad was alive, because I'm pretty sure it's against the AMA and it could be malpractice and everything. But my father grabs it and just, I don't know, the needle or whatever the hell it is, and did something. And the funniest part of the story is he does whatever they do. And my sister goes, oh, thank you, Daddy. And the little 30-year-old intern goes, yes, thank you, Daddy. I mean, Dr. Bailey. That's a true story, I swear on his grave. Quick time out. We're coming right back. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KRN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1.
Messmaker.
Yeah.
Edition, Clay and Buck will dive into the big press conference that took place in the White House surrounding
I gotta
autism.
finish this
Dr.
50.
Oz will join us to break all of that down. Plus, ongoing fallout from the Jimmy Kimmel cancel universe. Also, President Trump lining up against his critics when it comes to a potential government shutdown. Thursday edition of Clay and Buck.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Hope you join us every Thursday, particularly at 4:30, when Daniel Petrie from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors joins us. Daniel gives us a weekly update on the deficit and its growth. We look at silver and gold and obviously the stock market and all kind of economic issues that most importantly impact you. But again, you guys know what Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors are all about. They're all about retirement. I keep telling you guys, it's one of the smartest moves that I've ever made financially. Call Daniel at 395-9400, 395-9400 if retirement is in your near future. Or just tune in Thursdays at 4:30 when he joins us every week. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only. Does not constitute a solicitation or offer to buy or sell any security, future, option, or other financial instrument, or to offer or provide any investment advisory or other services to any person in any jurisdiction by Daniel Petrie or MPWA Inc., DBA Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Any views expressed in this broadcast by us are prepared based upon the information available to us at the time, and we are under no obligation to update our views.
Hey, folks, this is Michael Binge, noted barbecue connoisseur. Hand me that microphone. This is the real Michael Binge, noted barbecue connoisseur. That was my buddy Jeff Salters doing his best impression of me. And you'll never guess where I am. I'm sitting here eating barbecue with the man. Hey, why don't you tell us about what's going on with the catering in the banquet hall? Thanks, bud. Yes, we have got the catering line. It is hopping. People are calling in, booking their caterings right now. And for those of you looking for a banquet hall or a facility to host your event, we got you covered. Salty's Banquet and Event Center, 6720 Chirag Court. So just give us a call at 661-563-2739, 661-563-2739. Salty's Barbecue and Catering, 9425 Rosedale Highway and 6801 White Lane. Hey, folks, you know the line. Say it with me. California grilled, Texas approved.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. $5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PARTY5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PARTY5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code PARTY5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Coming into view. I wanna be living for the love you are Messiah. All that I'm giving for the love you are right now. Could just leave me the fun comes around me. Yeah. When you loved me. Eight 842-537-6842 KERN. Big Dog tells me that Blake Snell is pitching tonight. What difference does it make? What difference does it make? He can go 8 scoreless innings, and if Roberts pulls him, we lose. I'm literally getting sick and tired of watching the Dodgers. I really am. It's either we get off to a slow start, we trail early, we make a mid to 3/4 game comeback, and then they bring in the arsonists, and we lose. Or we get off to a fast, or there are 3 ways we lose. We either get off to a slow start, we make a slight comeback in the middle of the 3/4 of the game, and then we blow it in the end. Or it's like a scoreless game. Yamamoto, Snell, Tyler Glasnow, even Tyler Glasnow, or like last night, Shohei, and they score late against the bullpen, or we get an early lead like we had last night. We were up 4-0. One of our 190 hitters, one of our 2 backup catchers, hit a home run late to make it 4-0, and we still blew it. Lost 5-4. So it's not all just Tanner Scott. It's Dreyer. It's the whole damn bullpen. Like I said yesterday, there's absolutely not one player that goes out to left field and sits on his behind for 6 or 7 innings that's worth a damn. Not one of them. Not Trinan, not one of them. And why Dave Roberts had Clayton Kershaw out there in left field and didn't use him, that's the perfect spot for Clayton, because Clayton's issue, even at his peak in the playoffs, was that second or third time the hitters got to see him. Because that second or third time you saw him, you just said to yourself, I'm not looking fastball. I can fight off his 91 mile per hour fastball because Clayton can't throw much harder than 93 miles an hour. So I'll just sit on the curveball or the slider. And on nights when he hangs it, he's in trouble. But on nights when he starts it at their knees and it breaks late across the plate, or he throws that 12-6 where it kind of looks like a high slider, and then all of a sudden it's at your ankles. Because the biggest issue that the bullpen is having is throwing pitches right down the middle of the plate. Good pitchers get people out with balls, with things out of the strike zone. The hitters today are just too good and too much looking for the big hit to throw it down the middle. They'll swing 3 times as hard as they can. And if one of those pitches is right down the middle of the plate, I don't give a damn if it's 135 miles per hour like a Carlos Alcaraz serve. They're going to ultimately time it up. And that's what's happening. In fact, I grudgingly watched the post-game show where I'm pretty sure Oral was on it, or maybe Oral was a part of the broadcast last night. I'm not sure. They're mixing and matching, folks. They got Eric Carroll's coming in. They got the girl coming in every now and again. But it was Oral who was saying that. I'm not trying to pretend that I know anything about pitching. It was Oral Hershiser who said that. So it's not really the pitches that we're throwing. It's not really the velocity. It's where they're throwing them. They're throwing it right down the heart of the middle of the plate. And these guys are gonna square it up. Like if you throw a high fastball and a guy tomahawks it, all right, that's just good on good, and he got the best of you. But these things that are just right down the middle of the square. And by the way, did you see it's confirmed now? They are definitely in 26 going to the appeal. You'll get 2 times to challenge a strike because it's just gotten ridiculous. They have that now that the square is part of television. It's gotten ridiculous. You see the video? I almost sent it to you. It was around midnight last night, where I forget the guy's name.
George Springer?
No, it was an umpire. Arturo something, where he literally missed 32 pitches in a 9-inning game.
Oh.
And the video is, they show it. It was a Milwaukee Cleveland game. And he wasn't cheating because he was killing both sides. And he missed like everywhere. Like strikes, he called balls. Balls outside the zone, he called strikes. He missed 32 pitches. So now, come next season, a batter, catcher, or a pitcher will be able to tap his head twice a game and take a look at the strikes. Final half hour, don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Authorities say a shooter with a rifle opened fire from a roof onto a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement location in Dallas. The man killed 1 detainee and wounded 2 others in a transport van before taking his own life. The van was shot at while in the facility's Sally Port on Wednesday. A law enforcement official who spoke to the Associated Press on the condition of anonymity identified the suspect as Joshua John. Recent polling shows President Trump's second-term strengths look different from his first. His approval was once strengthened by economic issues, but it's now tepid on that front. His best issues now are crime, border security, and immigration. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Bill Robbins. The inmate who escaped during transport to a medical appointment was arrested a couple of days later in Lamont. 23-year-old Francisco Garcia escaped from Kern Medical at around 11 o'clock Saturday night. He was seen running eastbound from the hospital. Garcia escaped while in transport. According to the DA's office, Garcia, who is a rap artist, was convicted on 2 counts of attempted murder and other charges. He faces 80 years to life in prison. The Kern County Coroner's Office has identified the man who was shot and killed on Vine Street near the fairgrounds last week as 40-year-old Wilberto Ruben Hernandez of Bakersfield. Deputies found the victim. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Homicide detectives are investigating. I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Oh no, Dad, I spilled juice on the carpet.
Don't worry, kiddo. We have stain-resistant carpet from Carpet Outlet Plus.
Dad, Lucky dumped his water bowl all over the new floors.
Hey, Siri. Everything is fine. We have brand new waterproof floors from Carpet Outlet Plus. You can find everything you need for family-proof floor at Bakersfield's best flooring store. Now offering 1-year, no-interest financing. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Thursday's Armstrong and Getty show. So Trump basically just declared war between NATO and Russia in a Truth Social post. We'll follow up on that.
Plus, liberty-loving hero Javier Milei of Argentina is up against some serious headwinds. Trump has said we will help him out. The Argentine people finding it socialism behind. That and the news of the day on the next Armstrong and Getty show.
Week 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Well, that's some good news. I confirmed something that I learned over the weekend, or was alleged to me over the weekend, that wine is not bad for gout, and there are some researchers that believe that wine is actually good for gout, that it can lower your uric acid levels. Because beer and alcohol are not; they have purines that are not. And I can't believe that it's alcohol that causes my gout, because if that were true, I'd be crippled 365 days out of the year. And I don't drink beer anymore like I used to. God, when I remember, I used to have a liquor store literally across the street from me. How could I not be a drunk back in those days? But I could literally walk across the street and get a bottle of booze. Or Steve was a grad, loved Steve. He was so nice to me. In fact, I had an episode one night in that liquor store, and there was a guy who lives in Steve Holloway's apartments that are right next to mine, where Mr. Tamsey lives, and he used to hang out with Steve. They were friends, and he used to hang out with Steve, who owned the liquor store. It's now a Chinese restaurant on 23rd Street, a to-go place. I guess you could eat in there, right next to the subway. And I was going through my issues with my blood pressure, and I went in there to get like club soda or something late one night, because he would close sometimes at like 11, and I was having issues. My heart was pounding, I was sweating, and Steve was like, "You don't look good." And I like bent over and I was like, "I really don't feel good." And I was like, I think I'm gonna have to go to the ER. I gotta go, forget the club soda, whatever the hell I went and got. And the guy said, well, do you want me to give you a ride? And I was like, yeah, I'd really appreciate that, because the ER is right down the street. And that's when I began knowing the ER ladies by their first name. I think I was in there at least 4 times, 4 different incidents. And God, that was a horrible, horrible period in my life. It really was. That's why I'm always embarrassed when people say, how you lost the weight. I was scared to death. I was afraid to eat. I was eating like once a day, and I'd have like, roasted chicken. I'd have like a chicken sandwich from across the street at Subway for lunch, and then I'd have like a piece of roasted chicken for dinner. I stopped drinking for like 3 or 4 months. I was just absolutely scared to death. And the weight just came off. It really did. And I started doing this for the very first time. Started drinking water for the very first time. I never drank water on a regular basis until I was in my mid late 50s, until that whole blood pressure issue. I was like 55, 56, and I first started drinking water. And I still hate it. Chris keeps telling me to get some kind of mixture that sweeten it up or make it taste better, but
At least put flavor in it for you.
I just gotta hate it. And
No,
it's
I
a
don't blame you, 'cause
struggle.
I don't care for water either.
I mean, look at that. This has been 3 hours and I can barely get through a 50 ounce. I should be able to get through this like that. I should be drinking 2 of these, but I have 2 16 ounces with my lunch, which is 32, and then I have another 50. That's 82. So I think you're supposed to have like, Jeet wants you to have like a gallon. I don't know if I can do a gallon.
That's what I've seen now.
How many ounces are in a gallon? That I can beat you to it. Hey Siri, how many ounces in a gallon?
The answer is
128. So I'm supposed to drink 2 of these and a little extra. That's a tough day.
That's why I have a friend who would literally walk around with a gallon of water sometimes. He went to the gym a lot though, and he would just drink out of the jug.
And it's a pain in the behind. It really is. Because for whatever reason, and I don't mean to be, getting deep into it, but I don't urinate during the day. I really don't. You rarely see me use the bathroom when we're here.
True.
Rarely. But at night, and it's like clockwork. It's like 11 o'clock, like clockwork, and then literally somewhere between 4 and 4:15. I can wake up in the middle of the night having to go to the bathroom and be like, it's like 4:10. And I look, 4:05. And then it's 6 o'clock when I'm starting to get up, and then again at 9 o'clock. And then I'm kind of like settled. Then it kind of like gets normal, but like clockwork every night. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm thinking about going to the Peds. No, kidding. I don't know. 842-5376, 842-KRN. What do you got?
Your show is a political voice box. I rather listen to you talk about your lame stories than listen to all of this bickering. Go ahead, tell me to stop and tune out.
I mean, what's the point? What's the point in even addressing you? Either the show is entertaining or it's not. You either like it or you're not. You listen or you don't. I don't know. And then you insult me, and then you expect me to be nice to you. My lame story. Okay, it is what it is. Listen or not. All I ask of all my listeners is, when you get a diary, just tell the truth. I'm not saying put my name down, but if you're listening, just tell the truth. What else you got?
Ralph, over the past century, the country has become further divided into 2 parties, either right or left. The moderate or centralist politician has become as rare as a Dodgers bullpen save.
Well, I think that's the only thing that's going to save us. And I think we're in the process of that happening, because I'm going through that process myself personally, where I'm sick of the Republicans and I'm sick of the Democrats. And there's not a strong enough moderate or independent party for me to become a part of. But I think you're beginning to see that. That's the stronghold in Arizona, the independent party, or the moderates, or the failure. What is it? Refuse to state. And I think once that begins, hopefully in my lifetime, if that emerges and there comes some bold, either moderate Republican or moderate Democrat that gets and leads that charge, I'll be a part of it. But I'm sick of the Republicans. I'm sick of the Democrats. I think they both point fingers. I think they both make mistakes. I obviously, just because of where the Democratic Party has gone, I have no choice but to be part of the Republican Party. I'm sorry. I just think most of the issues that have been absolutely hijacked by the likes of Jasmine Crockett and AOC and the bald woman, I can't remember her name, and just the wackadoos on the left. I mean, you know, it's corny and it's trite, but it's just not my, you used to say it's not your father's Democratic Party. Hell, that goes back too far. It's not my Democratic Party when I was a part of it in the 1990s. And when you're just so far off the road on so many different issues, like transgenderism, like how in the world could I be a part of a party that believes that a biological male should play sports and walk around a locker room with a 15-year-old girl? How could you possibly be a part of an organization or a group that believes that? How can you possibly be a part of an organization that believes that a child can come to school and claim to a social studies teacher that they're transitioning, and the teacher says, well, we'll keep this from your parents? How in the, I mean, is that really a partisan issue? I would have thought that that is a familial, that is a parental rights issue that goes beyond whether you're left or right. But the left have somehow adopted this 20% belief that no, the parents should know, and the parents might harm the child, and the parents might try to convince the child that he is truly a biological male. How can I be a part of a party that wants to ignore the Constitution, and despite the fact that they only have 9 members of the opposing party in the 435-member House, they want even fewer? Why? Not because Texas did it, but because the guy that runs the state wants to run the country. And this is a great way for him to get publicity, along with his podcast, and along with, finally having all of a sudden this epiphany about providing oil in Kern County. And so I'm sick of both of them. But I am stuck with the Republican Party because the Democratic Party is out there in Mars. I mean, they're not even on the planet. So it is what it is. But as I state honestly, as you all know, I have problems with the Republican Party. I have tremendous problems with this cabinet, with Bondi, with Hegseth, with Kennedy, with Patel. I have a tremendous problem with that. I like the direction that the country is going on. I'm hanging with Donald Trump. I just think he's surrounded himself with a bunch of loyalists who have absolutely no business doing what they're doing for a living. Absolutely no business at all. One more, and let's take our final break. And I got to figure, what's for dinner tonight? What are you having for dinner tonight?
I'm actually going to Cape Pasa with the family.
I'm going to Cape Pasa.
My sister's birthday.
God, that sounds good too, Jack. That's why I'm envious. I love Cape Pasa. I haven't been there in a long time.
Neither have I. This has been a while.
There's so many really good restaurants that I have not been to in a long time. I was thinking about that last night.
As small as this place is, it's kind of hard to get everywhere.
I just don't like to go on that side. I don't like to go west of the 99. I was just thinking, I was dating a girl about, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. And our favorite place was Sorellas.
Yeah.
That was her joint. She lives over there. And I love Sorellas. It was expensive as hell. That's a good, we would have a couple cocktails and some wine. And that's close to a $3 night if you're having cocktails and wine.
Oh, yeah.
But I love Sorellas, and I haven't been there in like a year and since I stopped dating her. And there's so many places. We've been going back to Bill Lee's now on Saturdays for the ribs and the chow mein and the rice and there's so many good restaurants that I forget about because I'm so boring. It's Luigi's, it's Casey's Steakhouse, it's Bill Lee's, it's Mexicali. It's everything within, a driver and a 3-wood from my house. And if it ain't a driver and a 3-wood from my house, I ain't going. And I need to branch out in my old age. I need to head to the Southwest a little bit. You know, I haven't been to Lamina in a long time. I love Lamina. And that's really right down, that's on Oak Street. Isn't the one on Oak still open?
Really not even that far.
Chalet Basque. I used to hang out there on Friday nights. They changed ownership, but I've been there, and that's right down the street. That's right down Oak. That's not that far from me. That's driver 3-wood. And yet I just go to the same damn places and just.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I'm just boring. So boring. Let's take a final break. And I'll figure out what's for dinner tonight. I got a Five Guys burger in my refrigerator. You know, Five Guys, when you order the double cheeseburger, you get 2 for 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Did not know that.
Yeah.
That actually kind of makes it worth it.
That's why do you think I had it? I'm not a Five Guys guy. You've ever heard me talk about Five Guys? I'm not a Five Guys guy. But I was just kind of scrolling through and I saw the thing and it said 2 for 1. And I was like, what? What?
Oh, Christ.
For a double cheeseburger? Not bad. I had mushrooms. I had all kind of stuff that you could throw on it. It was a really good burger.
How much did it run you?
I think for the 2 burgers, because I didn't get the fries, the fries were 9 bones. So
They give you like a whole bag, though.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, and I don't mean like a McDonald's bag. I mean like a bag, like a whole brown bag.
Maybe I should have gone with it. But I think it cost me like 20 bones.
That's not bad.
Yeah, for 2 burgers. Not bad at all. Final break of the night. Keep it locked. Tomorrow's a Thursday. Our good friend, live from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, via the Rogers Branded Global Telephone Network, Nick Ragone, on the eve of the Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black in New York State. I don't think it's in New York City. I think it's upstate a little bit, just a little bit. And of course, Mike Turnipseed from Current Tax Association and our money man, Daniel Petrie. In the meantime, you're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The JR Show.
So the city council moved forward the idea of renaming South H Street to Avocado de Cesar Chavez. I don't know, whatever. Look, it's not the name that bothers me. It could have been Cesar Chavez. It could have been Martin Luther King Jr. It could have been Buck Owens. It does not matter. At a time like this, when we don't have the money, how are we going to spend, from what I'm told, over $1 million to do a street name change? It's just not the right time to do it.
The JR Show. Weekdays at 2 p.m.
Well, now, this is embarrassing. I used to run around Kern County like a summer queen, buzzing through barbecues, laying eggs in bird baths and potted plants, spreading West Nile like party favors. But this year, y'all got smart. You dumped your standing water, you shut your windows, you called Kern Mosquito so many times, I got evicted. Unbelievable. But listen here. Don't get excited just yet. I don't go into hibernation till November. That means there's still time for a comeback, baby. So please, let that kiddie pool turn green. Forget the insect repellent. I double dog dare you. Or keep doing what you're doing. Visit kernmosquito.com. Keep dumping out those containers and ruining the rest of my...
What about second promo real quick?
Ready? 3, 2. Look, I don't give a doggone. I couldn't possibly care less whether Jimmy Kimmel has a show. But let's don't change the narrative. He absolutely lied again on his return, where he said, I wasn't trying to... Damn it. My jaw's been giving me trouble lately. Like it hurts when I eat. Like if I eat a lot. And I noticed watching the show, I chew funny because of my jaw. I look like a horse. I'm like, Ralph the horse. 3, 2, look, I couldn't possibly care less if Jimmy Kimmel has a television show, but let's understand, he lied again. And they've created this narrative that it's about the First Amendment. He said that I didn't point out that this guy belonged to any group when that's precisely what he did. And then went on to say that Republicans were trying to make hay out of a man's death. This guy, his contract up is in January, and I don't think he has a future with the American Broadcasting Company. 3, 2, it's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Thursday TRBS. On the eve of the Ryder Cup at Bethpage Black, we'll talk to our golf aficionado, Nick Ragone. Plus, it's a Thursday. Mike Turner, Chief Concurrent Tax, and our money man, Daniel Petrie. All that and me at 3. It's TRBS, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. I'll see you at 3.
Card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PARTY5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank. That's code PARTY5 to get up to a $5 bonus on your first tank.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
God, that's so incredible. I just, for laughs, put in Coconut Joe's because I didn't call, so it's too late. And it's a $10 difference if I stop by Coconut Joe's as opposed to just going home. It's $9 if I just go home. It's $19 if I just go down the street because we're literally what? Driver from Coconut Joe's, maybe 600, 700 yards. I just don't get it. 842-5376, 842-KERN. Let's clear the board. Our top stories that we've been talking about today, the Dallas shooting where one detainee was killed by a man by the name of Joshua John who took his own life, a 29-year-old who had anti-ICE sentiment written on the bullets. He was up top a rooftop. It's becoming to be a copycat world out there and killed one detainee. 2 others are fighting for their lives. He shot indiscriminately, shot up the van, shot up windows. It was right near a freeway. Actually kind of fortunate in that situation. And of course, the return of Jimmy Kimmel, who did not apologize, did not tell the truth, and said that he claims that he didn't point out one group as claiming the guy that killed Charlie Kirk, when in fact that's precisely what he did. Called him a MAGA and said that the MAGA movement was doing everything we could to make him not be part of our group when he never was. His mother said that, his father said that, his lover said that, his transsexual lover said that. And Jimmy Kimmel went on 250 ABC affiliates and lied. And then came back last night, and lied again and said he didn't do what he did, when it's exactly what he did. And then went on to continue to attack the president, which is fine. And again, let me make my position clear. I'm with Rand Paul. I'm with Ted Cruz. I'm with Ben Shapiro. I'm with Candace Owens. The FCC cannot get involved with either threatening people, taking away their licenses, or targeting certain people. I just don't think that that's the narrative. That's the narrative that's been created by the Democrats, that somehow the FCC was involved in this. Brandon Carr with his big bazoo, part of this idiot cabinet, saying things like we can either do it the hard way or the easy way. But at the end of the day, it came down to one man, and that's Bob Iger, the man that runs Disney. Because the FCC certainly didn't put him back on the air, did they? No, that was Bob Iger. And Sinclair and Nexstar is still holding out. They're still not airing him in Nashville. They're still not airing him in Rochester, New York. They're still not airing him in Seattle, where he told the story on the air that that's where he started. And he got fired for not wanting to do some bit the general manager did when he was doing radio back in the 80s. I didn't know he was as old as he is. I'm just 5 years older than Jimmy Kimmel, which, given my weekend, made me even more depressed. Because Kimmel don't look like he's 57 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Kimmel's also got a lot of money to be able to
Botox, and he is
spruce that
wearing a lot of makeup. But I was like, damn, he don't look my age. He doesn't look like we could have gone to high school together. Or I don't look like he went to high school with me. My self-esteem is very low, y'all. It really is. I sat in front of my mirror. Was it today or yesterday? Buck naked. I was just like, damn.
Oh, come on now. You need to win.
So far out of
you need to win.
I do.
You need to win somewhere.
And I it could be happening very soon.
Okay, there you go.
There's I told you right over here.
Yes, focus on that.
Well, I broke our deal because I'm not going to the hockey game because I thought it was at 7 and we were going to go to Bill Lee's at 6 and this and that and that and this. And
you can rally. It's fine. It's a slight detour from the original idea.
Yeah. My suggestion is we just do Bill Lee's and just call it a night. Yeah. I love Bill Lee's. I've been going there a lot lately. Area, and I've done like 2 weekends in a row. And what's the bartender's name? Kayla. Young Kayla. I love her. She's a lot of fun. 842, let's read a couple messages. Get the hell out of here.
A lot of people are texting in to let us know that Lamina has actually closed.
That's what I thought. The one on Oak? That's what I thought. I love Lamina. They had a great buffet. They really did. What else you got?
Ralph, the pantry will reopen this New Year's Eve under new management.
That's outstanding.
Or, I'm sorry, ownership, full ownership.
That's too bad. It's new ownership, but that is a Los Angeles icon. It truly is. That literally has no locks on the doors. There are no locks on the doors because they literally never close. Never close. And if you get there on a Sunday, you're going to wait a little bit. It's LA. It's a 45-minute to an hour wait. And unless you got like folks in from out of town or you're trying to turn a friend on to the pantry or Luigi's, I don't see how these people will wait hour and a half to eat at Luigi's. And I'm just like, I get it, but I don't get it. Because, I get a little love, hour away from it. No, want to thank our guest this afternoon, Mr. Marcus, for joining us. For some reason, I thought we had somebody else, but we did not. And I hope you'll join us tomorrow when our good friend Nick Ragone joins us, along with Mike Turnipseed and Daniel Petrie, as we get set for Ryder Cup. It's going to be a fun weekend. Ravens taking on the Chiefs. The ending of the 2025 Major League Baseball regular season. Playoffs beginning next week. Playoffs. In the meantime, for Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. Wrap to you tomorrow.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington.
Hey,
the planned reopening of Camp Mystic in Texas has been confirmed.
27 campers and counselors were killed at the all-girls camp during catastrophic floods. The area of the camp along the river that was destroyed by floodwaters will not be part of that reopening. Only the part of the camp.
If I can't do it in 2 takes, we'll do it tomorrow. But I'm pretty sure I can do it in 1 take. You ready? 3, 2. Hey, it's that man again, Ralph Bailey for Sangera Subaru. It's time again for Subaru Loves Pet Month. For the past few years, Sangera Subaru has supported the Bakersfield SPCA's efforts to increase adoption during the month of October. Last year, during the month of October, the Bakersfield SPCA had a total of 73 cats and dogs, all adopted. This year's goal, 100 animals adopted during the month of October and find their forever homes. Plus, Wednesday, October 22nd, Subaru celebrates their 7th annual National Make a Dogs Day. We invite all dog enthusiasts to do something special for their furry friends, or maybe consider either adopting or fostering a dog. And in addition, the SPCA holding a low-cost microchip and God damn it, I'll do it all over again. Where was I time-wise? That doesn't sound like a minute. I was close. I still had
51.
I still had another paragraph though.
Honestly,
You think I'll get there?
Because by the time I cut out all your breaths and stuff, it'll be a minute.
All right, let me try it one more time. From the top, as they used to say. 3, 2, hey, you know what? Let's do this, dumbass. Maybe this will help me bring up my reading level. 3, 2, hey everybody, it's that man again, Ralph Bailey for Sangera Subaru. You know, it's time again for Subaru Loves Pet Month. For the past few years, Sangera Subaru has supported the Bakersfield SPCA's efforts to increase adoption during the month of October. Last year, during the month of October, the Bakersfield SPCA had a total of 73 cats and dogs, all adopted. This year's goal, 100 animals adopted during the month of October and find their forever homes. Plus, Wednesday, October 22nd, Subaru celebrates their 7th annual National Make a Dogs Day. We invite all dog enthusiasts to do something special for their furry friends, or maybe consider either adopting or fostering a dog. In addition, the SPCA holding a low-cost microchip and vaccination clinic Saturday, October 25th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Cost $20 each for a microchip or vaccine. So, whether you're a dog lover or a cat lover, now is a great time to adopt a pet from the Bakersfield SPCA. Join Sangera Subaru in supporting this worthwhile cause during the Subaru Loves Pet Month. Sangera Subaru, paving the way for a better community. Boom! Boom, boom, boom! Two-take Bailey. Do you need this? Doesn't have a thing on it. What was the timeline?
$1:12.
Do I need to do it again?
No, you'll be fine.
You can chop off 12 seconds?
I can figure it out.
Because I can edit it.
Keep the paper just in case. I'll see if I can do it tonight, and if I can't, then I'll let you know tomorrow. We'll redo it.
Now that I balled it up.
I can reprint it for you.
Yeah, I could totally edit some of this. Where they're saying they're furry friends and all that nonsense. I could edit that out. But let me know.
All right.
Independent commission responsible for drafting California's congressional maps. If Prop 50 passes, the state legislature would draw the map that would last until 2030. Two men appeared in court on Tuesday to face charges for possession of child pornography. 32-year-old Ryan Jackson and 22-year-old Connor Rubalcado had their public defender enter not guilty pleas on their behalf. Jackson's bail was set at $90,000. Rubalcado's at $50,000.
See you guys. Thanks for listening.
I'm Bill Robbins in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour, or when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm the threat that's already inside the house. In the closet, under the bed, in the car. But I don't want your money or your TV. I can't be scared away or negotiated with. I'm patient and quiet. I don't sleep. You can't call the cops on me. You can't even see me. I'm the threat of family fire. And as long as your guns aren't stored securely, I'll be there. Protect your family. Secure all your guns. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org.
See you guys.
That's endfamilyfire.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Brady.